Live button. We're gonna go live now.
Okay.
We're
Let me put
live.
my performer face on. Hi, everyone. It's so
Hi.
nice
It's
to see you again.
yeah. Welcome to the Suicides Cast.
You're welcome to the best fucking podcast on YouTube, hands down, no question.
Yeah, blood sports
Um,
be damned.
yeah, we're
uh,
gonna we're gonna rail some autists tonight.
yeah.
That's for sure.
We're talking about some huge faggotry right now.
Oh, I like your little setup here.
Yeah.
It's
No,
nice.
I've been doing it since like the first one, almost since like the first one.
I should do that with the like. I noticed that on I forget what Mahler's show is called, but
Oh,
they have their little
EFAP.
avatars on the bottom, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
EFAP.
EFAB.
I think
Yeah,
that's more of a Google's call thing, but then it says they're in
yeah.
Discord, so I'm like, oh, okay.
How did you get it to set up that way?
I had to use a lot of display captures, so like the one
Oh my
on the
God.
image screen is
Yeah.
like has a layered image on top of it, and then I just hide it,
Okay.
and it would have the
Uh,
second display capture on the lower left hand corner, and then I put the
right.
Discord shit all the way up on the top, and then just display captured that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I know. It's very
Yeah,
riveting.
it's
It's
nice.
putting you to sleep, my man.
I know. Yeah. It's not because I worked all day. It's because you're so fucking boring.
I
Holy
know.
shit.
Were you able to? I sent the doc in the room if you want to
Oh
go ahead and look
God.
into that.
Okay.
So yeah, I made myself a good new meme. I actually used it for the fucking podcast thumbnail. I'm gonna show it on screen right now. So it says, "Hey friend, I don't want to force my subjective values onto my fellow man, but being an advocate of free speech for children does not make one inherently virtuous. One could call such beliefs ignorance towards a child's behaviors, or even enable something far worse. However, throwing such stigmas without proper evidence is something frowned upon these days, and just as accurate as these negative views towards freedom of expression makes me a communist. Look, children should be seen, not heard, and from what I've seen, maybe you should follow that advice."
Huh. Yeah.
I kind of like that. I was driving
Uh,
back from school when I was thinking of this whole ramble sort of meme shit. I was like, the first thing I need to say is just because you like defend the free speech of children does not make you inherently a good person.
right. Right. Yeah. Since when is it seen as wrong to threaten children with talking to their parents? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, no.
Very bizarre. Very strange.
Well, it's like here's the thing. Like I've only found one public instance where Patch has like been aggressive towards this minor, where it's like it's basically just like regurgitating what they had told the minor in the call. It's like you're not like you're putting yourself at risk here by just like offering people art and role playing with them and shit.
Right.
Uh, and then the second problem was, which like I said, we'll get to later, and it's on an unlinked thread because like Patches things are protected, and I don't want people just like going for it or whatever. I don't think most people will be able to get the full context. The problem
Yeah.
being just much like Spectrum Heat. I have no idea who the fuck Patch was responding to. But there was a name that came up in the discussion that was very interesting. And I
Hmm.
sent this to Coyote, and I was like, "Dude, this fucking plot twisted like it's fucking nuts." It's the name that was being thrown was the guy we're going to talk about right now. His name is Lucifer, Lucifer Apple Daddy.
Cringe. Fucking cringe.
Cringe.
Holy shit. And
Um,
he's using the
no, it's a she.
whatever. It's using the so great and powerful brackets, and I'm very triggered by that.
Yeah, I know, I get it.
How fucking dare you? How fucking dare you?
Um, and it's
Manitoba, Canada,
yeah,
and they're also, of course, representing the greatest country on earth.
yeah.
Absolutely
Sheldon,
disgusting.
if we find this chick's address,
How old is this chick?
24.
Yeah, maybe I'll go fuck her. I don't know.
But yeah,
If she's
so
not a fucking land whale, but of course, the statistical likelihood of that on the internet is very low.
Very.
So,
No, it's very high. She's probably most definitely
I
alive and
mean, yeah,
well.
sorry, high. That's what I
Yeah.
meant. Maybe I
Um.
need to get high to think straight. I don't know.
You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put all the links in, so I'm probably gonna have to do this after the stream is
Oh
done. I know
my
I'm
God.
just so fucking incompetent. You know.
Jesus, you're
Um.
worse than me.
School has been like very enjoyable for me this semester so far, Sheldon. It's like, uh,
Hmm.
fucking, I'm taking the hardest classes so far. I'm like taking nuclear engineering, control theory, shit like that, and I'm on my senior design too. And I had for the last
What
three.
is control theory?
Control theory is basically like you have a system, say for example, like a spring system, and it's supposed
Yeah.
to determine the actions and reactions that happen within that system. Essentially,
Oh,
it's
okay.
like
Right.
if I was to say like it's something you apply to like testing the forces that act on a car when it's put in certain scenarios.
So
Uh,
it's a framework you can use to predict how objects will react,
yeah.
basically.
And
Okay.
then I'm taking manufacturing, and all these classes except for uh, my lab, my vibrations lab, have
That sounds like the hippiest fucking class
I
in the
know
world, by the way.
everything is
Vibrations.
like you know how you
Good
say
vibrations, my guy.
yeah
You
I
know?
know
Well, isn't the transfer of heat vibrations and all
everything
this
is
stuff? So
vibrations,
everything's
Sheldon.
vibrations, yeah.
It's like you
What is that called? What is it called when you're looking under a microscope and you're watching cells and they're shaking? Bronchium motion, I think. And it's caused by the atoms shaking around. That's why the cells look like they're jittering a little bit. I'm sure that was very simple and basic and not interesting at all, but there you go.
right. But yeah,
Brownian motion, that's it. Sorry.
I have 4 semester projects going on. I should have told Leo this before he hopped out of the call, but he's gonna join us later. We
Indeed.
have to do a project for my manufacturing class, and I decided to pick forging processes of different bladed weapons through the world, like throughout time
Oh,
and throughout the
interesting.
world.
Interesting.
I haven't found much so far.
Just
It's
don't hang them on your wall.
yeah, no, the
Okay,
just don't buy
good.
them from Japan. You fucking weeb.
Or China.
So before we get
Don't
this
don't buy anything from China right
right,
now.
but
Yeah.
it's like I spent the last 3 days like drawing up the designs for my senior design 2 group projects, like
Mm,
thing. Because there's 5 of us, 3 of us are doing the research, and then 2 of us are working on the design, and then the
right.
actual like 3D CAD design because we have to like 3D print this shit.
Right.
And our project is basically we're making a manual hand pump that is supposed to be both mobile and versatile for third world countries. Um,
You're making a penile pump for third world countries. That's interesting.
yeah, uh,
Wow.
yeah, I
That's
know.
very progressive of you.
I know it's very progressive. It's like
Yeah.
it's much better than my fucking idea. I was like, I wanted to make shoes that could like be an outlet for a rechargeable battery. Essentially, it's like the grooves.
That's a great idea.
I know it is, but it's super great in concept, but extremely dangerous in application because
Well, I guess that kind of
you
makes
run the
sense. Yeah.
risk of something worse than those fucking hoverboards from
Right.
happening instead
Or
of
your phone
something.
exploding in your pocket. Right.
Well, yeah, it's something like that, but
Yeah.
and people are inherently stupid. It's like people are asking like, why does my vape explode? It's like I don't know. Do you put your keys with your vape?
Right. You're right.
So and I
Huh.
was really happy with how it turned out. And I brought it to the guy that we were, I was gonna help design this with, and like we'd spent the whole class time just like tearing it apart. And that's just that
Mm.
kind of shit that I like is this sort of last minute where it's like, well, I could just make this change. Like we can like imagine like a salad spinner, Sheldon. It's like that's
Yeah.
the basin of the pump itself because
Okay.
what I essentially said is that it's a pump basin that has a handle that can fold out to become the spout, and then it has a lid, and then you just turn this button on the lid, and it will open up the holes to let like air into it.
Right.
That's only if you
Okay.
close the spout because the spout is needed for the exchange of fluids between the water and the fluid that you're pumping out. Uh, and
Oh.
and I essentially just said like there's a basin that connects the tripod that's only supposed to keep it standing up. That's literally what I said the legs are supposed to do.
Mhm.
And then you can, detach the bucket and then just like carry it back yourself without having to like lug other containers. That's just like an optional sort of function of it.
Right.
Uh,
Interesting.
but yeah, no, it's like that's why I always liked getting into engineering was just like
You're an engineer, yeah, that's what it sounds like.
yeah, well, it was like it's part
Yeah.
problem solving, but just like also fundamentally, I'm just very deconstructionist. I just like
Yeah, you're
tearing shit
very
apart.
postmodern. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So, and that's like why I have such.
I hate the fucking word deconstruction, by the way. But
Okay, well,
anyways,
what would be a better word for it?
because I think that comes from postmodernism, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
Because the postmodernists, they challenged the natural order. They tried to
What the hell
challenge.
do we call this age? Like, it's not postmodern; it's something else.
Yeah,
That's,
this is well, I guess it's postmodern.
I
I don't know.
guess, I don't know. It's like
That's
it's
actually a Wikipedia entry, by the way.
the short term terminology I heard from it in my literacy class. Sheldon was
Woke? Is it woke now? Are we in the woke era?
I guess maybe. I've
Yeah,
I've heard it
woke
was called the remix era, where it's like
remix.
nothing is truly inherently original, and it's just like a modification of
Oh,
something old that was made.
that's
That's
interesting.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
definitely in terms of, well, yeah, pretty much everything. How many new novel inventions and genius level discoveries are happening? Way less than ever before. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's kind of a good way to see it.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
we're
bro.
gonna finally get to this Lucifer shit. I
Okay.
just I just wanted to go over shit with you. So
All right.
I watched Anthony's video, which I also plan on plugging in the stream once we're done.
Yeah.
Uh, so you saw this thread, right, when they sent this in the chat in the Zoophile server?
Yes. Yes. I saw this.
Okay. Anthony didn't play like all of the call, obviously. So, like,
Okay.
what were your initial impressions of it exactly?
Well, my initial impressions of let's talk about the claims made against Patchwork Heart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, child abuse. They're claiming that. Here's the thing about it, right? So I'm in this fucking call, and these fucking mods are like Valley Girl retards,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, literally Valley Girls. They talk, oh my god, like this kind of shit, and they're obviously very left leaning and very compassionate, and somewhat higher IQ people. I can kind of tell just by talking to them, and you know. They're like, well, look, Patchwork Heart, but by Patchwork Heart, threatening a minor with a call to their parents, by trying to get them to stop doing what the minor just wants to do, essentially, which is post pornography with her friends on Twitter, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
and retweet that shit too, which exposes more minors that's
r-
following her.
right, right. Stopping this action is tantamount to child abuse, essentially. Um, And beyond that, there was another claim of stalking. So Patchwork Heart is stalking this individual because Patchwork Heart had stated in her conversation with this 16-year-old that, I'm keeping my eye on you. Essentially, I've been following you. Um, of course, when we're talking about criminal thresholds, none of these things are met. This is not meeting the criminal threshold of stalking or even cyber stalking, nor is it meeting the criminal threshold of child abuse or whatever it would be called. Beyond that, there was another claim of blackmail. So the blackmail portion of this is, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to get Leo to get your phone number and call your parents or something like this. Um, Look, so in this call, I'm challenging. First, initially, I said you're not meeting the legal threshold for any of this, and they said, well, it's not legal. Okay, it's colloquial.
Yeah, I heard them say we're
Yeah,
kind of throwing this out there in like a loose sense of the
right. In a
word.
loose sense, like as in it. Like the thing is, they're not like I don't disagree with them exactly on their semantics because it is a kind of blackmail. I mean, if your definition of blackmail is to use something against somebody to get them to do something you want to do, to threaten them with it, with releasing this to somebody they don't want that release to. Well, okay, fine, it's blackmail. But then my argument would just be, well, okay, but there are forms of blackmail you agree with and think are fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to just say it's black, and I said this to her in the call. I said, look, you're a public you're essentially like you're kind of like a journalistic outlet, only not really, but you know you do have this public platform, and you are actively trying to expose child predators and people who might be dangerous toward children in a sexual sense, or animals. They're the zoophile police, obviously. And I said, look, don't you think it's kind of irresponsible to be throwing around these words that, I mean, you might say you're using these broad, loose definitions, but who else are using these broad, loose definitions, right? People are reading this and going, oh, Patchwork Heart, she's engaging in blackmail. People are going to interpret this as a legal claim, going to interpret this as something more serious than it really is, which is, the old man yelling at the kids, stay off my lawn, or I'm going to talk to your parents about it kind of thing, which is essentially what's going on here. So, I thought the whole thing was absolutely fucking retarded. And the problem was, look, I think Patch was crying about it in a previous call in another room. She was saying, the zoophile police, my position on the zoophile police is all that mattered to me. It's all I had. It's all I had. It was fucking pathetic, number one. Number two, um, it seemed the group's intention was to get the zoophile police Twitter to take down these accusations,
Yeah.
at the very least. And I was getting angry. I was getting pissed off, and I get a bit aggressive, so in my tone, and they didn't like that. And I just decided to leave instead of stick around because I would have made it worse, no question. Although ultimately it went nowhere, and now I guess they're accusing Leo of threatening to dox them in that call. When, as far as I'm concerned, that didn't happen, and they haven't posted evidence of it. So
Mm-hmm.
more bullshit. So yeah, that's essentially what I understand from the situation.
Right. It's like I hopped in there. I think maybe like a few minutes before you had left.
Yeah. Oh, you
And
did.
yeah, and then
Huh.
I stayed around in there
Right.
until pretty much like Anthony and most everyone else was like gone. I think the only other person from the group was Ruza. And I just basically just wanted to go like step by step. It's like how did you guys find about this? It's like we were given a lead about this from someone
Mm.
else. And then we looked at it, and I was like, okay, so what exactly about this is blackmail and or abusive behavior? Because it's like
Right.
this doesn't sound like something like intentionally something that like Patch would do.
Right.
You know, because my first like reference to this was I think I went to Cool Kids Club on Limbo, and I saw it, and I read through it, and I was like laughing my ass off because I was like, no one in their right mind will take this shit seriously.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Exactly. The
um,
the moral consensus, I think, is on our side.
I definitely say so. Fact,
Yeah.
like as we get further into this, like it's also the same thing could be said factually because I actually went to Lucifer directly about this, and I asked for various things. It's like, the first thing I asked was like besides telling them like I told them this first. I asked them, what is a kink? I want you to define what a kink is. And it's like I'm not going to do
Okay.
that. And it's like, oh, you think I'm baiting you into like some
Right.
pedophilia shit? And I'm like, I'm 23 years old, and they're like, I'm 24, and I'm like, okay, so
Okay.
what's the
Well, what's the problem?
problem?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But again, we'll get into that later. So, Lucifer says for harassing a 16-year-old who had no business in meddling with.
Just before you go on, one
Yeah,
last thing I think it's important to lay out here in case
yeah.
people are just listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
Their other main argument against Patchwork was this: um, people are going to read these logs that they posted and made public, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
which nobody would have read it otherwise. People are, from what I understand, so people are going to read these logs of Patchwork Heart telling this 16-year-old kid not to make pornography, post it publicly on Twitter, and let her minor friends see it and share it with each other. Um, in the manner that she did, that action is going to be seen by people and is going to ruin the Zoophile police's reputation. It's going to have a negative effect on our reputation. And given that we are a somewhat large Twitter account, which I contest, by the way, 30,000 followers is literally fucking nothing on Twitter. But anyways, uh, yeah, that was essentially their point. It's like, well, look, we're like McDonald's basically, or we're like Costco or Walmart or something. Look, we're Nike. Look, we have to stop this before it gets worse. This is bad PR. She's making us look bad, and I'm like, I'm like, who's making you look bad? What are the negative effects to your reputation that you have observed currently? They're like, well, there might be effects in the future. Well, okay, you might get hit by a car in the future. Like, I mean, it's fine. I guess you can like you're not wrong to do this any objective sense, but really, I think it's kind of cringy. It's like you're actually pretty much a nobody Twitter account. And do you really think that even if people were to see this and think that patchwork is disgusting, um, do you really think that this would impede your primary goal of this account, which is to keep people safe and protected?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the internet is going to turn on you over this. I don't think that's going to happen. So, I mean, their justification for their probabilistic claim of risk to reputation, very questionable, not really demonstrated, and is all really based on just this sense of possible danger, which it's like, okay, whatever, you know, it's just your feelings, bro, basically.
Well, I haven't had the chance to actually like go on Patch's page and see like if
Yeah.
there's any backlash on their account before it got protected. So I don't
Mm.
know. I do know that there were a significant number of, or there were quite a few responses made on this thread after it was done. Um, and one of those, I'm sure you'll look forward to seeing, Sheldon, is fucking buttons.
Of course,
Yeah,
my favorite.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know. Our
absolutely.
fucking piss baby gremlin. um, so
A rape baby, yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. For uh, this claim here is basically is Lucifer is saying for harassing a 16-year-old uh who you have no business in meddling with their art, what they draw, and using the law to intimidate and cyberbully. Kudos to you. Enjoy your fame along with Sly and Hyper, who are both proven to be pedophiles. I'm not so sure about Hyper, but I do know Patch was the or one of the people who were responsible for exposing Sly or Sly Fox in the has-been community.
Okay.
So I didn't make this apparent to Lucifer. Uh, something you'll notice later is it's just like, see, this first tweet here was taken at 5:42, and the only
Wait, what tweet? Where?
the first tweet, I'm putting it on the from the Google
Oh,
Doc
oh, okay, okay.
that I sent.
Sorry. Yeah. Oh, I
I'm on
see
I'm
it.
on the second half of the first one right
Right,
now, at
right.
5:42, and then 6 minutes later, posts the screenshots to confirm this, and I was like, huh. Like when I first looked at this, I had assumed this was all posted at once,
Yeah.
and then some things were added a little bit later, but it's like this wasn't done at the same time. This was the evidence was posted minutes later, and then
Uh-huh.
between that point and the point where Lucifer had made the post that Patch had blocked her, was shit. It was 6 hours. It was from 5:52 5:42 when it was first made to 11:45. And
Right.
I had asked Lucifer, and once we get to like the DMs that I'd posted in this doc between the two of us, I asked them, "Did you make any attempt to like reach out to Patch and get their
Mhm.
side of things?" Uh, and they said no. And I
Shocker.
and I
I don't
noticed
believe
this
it.
because I was like, the point of this
I
is
don't
to
believe
look
it.
out for details. And the first detail I noticed was just the time difference. It's like
Right.
I question why you didn't post this all first, or at the
Right.
same time. But I'm gonna go back up.
From what I understand, based on that call, there was a lot of miscommunication.
Oh
Some
yeah,
of the admins didn't even know if people were being contacted or what. So it seems like their whole operation is, at least between the people who are in charge of running it, are extremely, loose and not well fortified.
yeah. I don't really think they have a system in place, honestly, Sheldon. It's like
No.
um I don't know who it was that from what Anthony told me, it was Belua, or whatever it was, that one
Mhm.
mute bitch who wasn't talking in the call.
Yeah, that little
Uh,
pussy faggot. Yeah,
yeah.
pretty much.
She was the one who tried to reach out to Patch, and then ultimately, like, they just said, "Fuck it, like, we're gonna decide
Right.
this shit now." It's
Right.
it's like there's no system in place, and I felt like asking them. It's like, okay, so when you guys are given evidence, like, what is the process, and like what is your scale in terms of
Right.
like how legitimate the evidence is? Like,
Right.
do you like how what is your threshold of like anonymity? What I'm talking about here is like, is it okay that they get rid of the handles or the usernames, the profile
Mm.
pictures? Are you
Mm.
guys okay with names being censored? Do you guys want to have like full threshold logs here? Like,
Right.
no shortcutted bullshit here. Um because I believe one of the logs in the thread was, Lucifer says, on top of that, openly admitting to stalking, harassing, bullying. Who the fuck are you to put that burden on yourself to exploit your ego like this? Uh, who died and made you a royal pain in the ass? If you can't see who's the one with the problem, it's clearly you. And it's just like this screenshot is being taken out of context. It's Patch saying, you promised not to post NSFW porn or sexual content. I have that on tape. I told you I'd keep an eye on you. Learn to keep your promises, because in the real world, this kind of behavior is what makes you unemployable.
Right.
I don't think
Right.
that's too far a line. It's like it's the same reason why people didn't want Fusion to continue with his video series on the editor, or just like, it's like you're gonna ruin his reputation and his career. Like, he's a teacher or whatever, he wants to be a teacher. I don't remember what the fuck it was, but it's like he
Hmm.
won't be able to get hired. It's
Yeah.
like, no, I get it, and like Patch has a legit point, and it's like I want to know what incited uh, this comment made by Patch and what the miner's response was as a result of that. It's like I hate it
Right.
when people post this shit out of context, especially when it's like, this is the essential point of my argument, but let me just like cut some shit out.
Yeah, the broader context also has meaning in relation to the entire thing, and
Mhm.
that will affect people's judgment about it. So,
That's like
yeah,
why I
definitely.
posted the vast majority of my DMs with Lucifer in this Google Doc. It's like I even did it like one end one end of the message at the end to the end message
Yeah.
at the top at the beginning. It's like
Right.
just to show that
Right.
these things are linked. Um, so now we get to the second Twitter post, and it says, "It's no one's business to know what the fuck you do in your spare time. Who gives a fuck?" It's like, I don't know, as like you're saying that like it's about what someone does in their free time, and it's like, okay, what's the distinction here? Are we talking in private or
Okay, well, look,
public?
look, somebody's raping kids. It's not your business to know
Yeah.
what they do on their free. You know, uh, I, I can give you an exa- I can give this person an example that they would agree the free time, my personal business shit wouldn't cut it, right? So, it's totally all they're really saying is like the whole thing is stupid. Like, let's remove the bullshit from here and let's get to the heart of it. Lucifer is really saying, I don't think this is a big deal and you think it is, and I don't like that you think it is, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what's happening.
It's that very problematic shit we come across when it's like we're dealing with actual maps and shit like that, where
Yeah.
it's like freedom of speech, man. Like they could do whatever the fuck they want,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
I'm like, sure. Like, here's the thing. Like, I had done a Twitter post, Sheldon, and Anthony kind of gave me some shit for it after I did it, but I was very curious because Spectrum had made this declaration that a 14-year-old drawing porn is outright illegal. And I
Right.
was like, okay, I actually want to see if there's some legitimacy to this. So uh, I think you saw it. I think I sent it to you, and you kind of both joked back and forth about it. And I was like, that Ask the Lawyer website thing. And
Oh yeah, right. Right.
and here's the thing is that this 16-year-old is from California.
Okay.
So I don't know like if the laws have changed or the stipulations uh, for these certain what is it criminal codes or whatever in California have changed over the past 2 years.
Right.
I wouldn't think it was too much broad of a change, but it's basically saying you can draw whatever the fuck you want in the privacy of your own home, but once it gets circulated, as in like i.e. gets on the internet,
Right.
it becomes a problem. It becomes a definite legal problem.
Right.
In some cases, under certain circumstances, if it's a site that is a place for children, like meant for children to go to, it can be considered child pornography if you were to draw sexually explicit content when you're a minor.
Right.
Unless
Okay.
unless the lawyer had misinterpreted that they asked if it was uh, drawn pornography of a minor because that could have also been the case. So I'm not 100% sure on that.
Well, it seems strange to call it child pornography. Like I thought child pornography referred to the content of the drawing. In other words, does it is it a child in the drawing being represented or not? But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't fuck the law. The law is gay.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's just like whatever. Fuck off.
It's
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I want to look at this again because it says that Patch used the law to belittle the minor. So it says,
Yeah.
I saw you.
I was gonna say, where did that happen?
Yeah, no, I
I
want
wonder
to
where
read through
that.
this again as I've read through this so many times, and then I like read it again. I was like, where the fuck did it say that? There's just so much bullshit that I have to take on anecdote and then like climb back. It's like this shit is so unorganized. I saw you posting NSFW again on one of your roleplay accounts. We talked about this. Now we don't know which account it is, and for obvious reasons, I can probably get why Patch wouldn't take or like post proof because obviously you're sending pornography to a minor.
I love this, by the way. Look
Yeah.
at how this girl answers Patch.
What
Patch asks,
NSFW?
yeah. Well, Patch asks her, the NSFW. We talked about this, and she says, "What NSFW?" And what fucking comes to her mind
The
as to
one
what
like.
could be NSFW? Right, the kink tweet. So she knows in her brain, her mind recognized that that is a subject of NSFW. That's why she answered one like equals one kink. But then she says that isn't NSFW. Well, why did your brain go to it if it's not relating to something not safe for work, right? So like a sexual kind of topic or interaction, right? So I mean, the level of retardation with this girl is astounding. Number one, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's absolutely NSFW in a sense. It definitely is. Well, what is this, by the way? One like, one kink. Does that mean if I like your post, you're going to tell me one of your kinks? Is that what that means?
I have no idea. I asked Lucifer what the fuck that is, and they didn't really give me like a definite answer. It's just like you don't need to
Uh,
worry about it, bro.
okay.
So
Get fucked.
let's look this up real quick. One like
Equals one kink.
equals one kink. I'll read
So if
it
I like
off.
your post 100 times, what?
I get 100 kinks.
I get 100. What does that mean? Yeah, I don't get it.
Is that
Uh,
is
I don't
that
like the exchange of value here. It's kind of strange.
could one who is not too retarded Interpret that as prostitution, Sheldon.
Oh, sure, why not?
I am. I'm getting no relevant information here.
Yeah, I don't know.
19
Because
kinks and
you see that
fetishes.
on social media, like one like equals one story, or one like equals something. One like, and I'll tell you something about me you've never heard of. So
All right. Well, since none of these idiots seem to know what kink is, I'm gonna go define it real quick. Uh, a kink is a sexual taste for a person. Usually, a kink is an unusual taste in sexual behavior.
right. So something
Emphasis
deviant.
emphasis on sexual.
Right, right.
Uh,
I've never heard the word kink in relation to anything other than sexual
yeah,
things.
I know.
So,
Maybe
or
it
maybe
was.
maybe there's a kink in the system, or
Yeah,
something like that. But
I thought it was a chink in the system.
it changed. Yeah, maybe it's chink.
Yeah.
Although that's also a racial epithet. So,
Now, I wouldn't agree with what Pat just saying that kinks are sex. I'd say kinks are sexual.
uh,
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
very ranged.
yeah. It's not kink equals sex. It's kink has overlap with sexual things,
Hmm.
right?
But then they respond with, "No shit."
Right, right, exactly. It's like this person's interpretation of NSFW is like it has to be a drawing, or it has to be like a story or an RP or
Or
something.
both. Oh my god.
Anything else is never NSFW. Nothing else is NSFW. Is that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, no,
Well, it's like it's so
I don't think
fucking
so.
bipolar. It's like you bring this up at the beginning, Sheldon. It's like, what's NSFW? And then like first thought that comes to my head, the one like one kink
Although,
thing? That ain't
look,
NSFW. And then Patch says yes it is. And then like she agrees with Patch. She's like, no shit.
right. I do want to say this though. Look, I think it's honestly complete fucking cringe that anyone gives a shit about a 16-year-old posting something like this on their Twitter. I'm sorry, but 16-year-olds are interested in these things, and I kind of agree that this is not outright pornography. This is not any of these kind of things. And honestly, I'm a libertarian. I'm for kids to make mistakes sometimes, and maybe something bad might come of it. It's possible, but I'm not so reaching. I'm not so controlling about it. So I see the whole thing, and I'm kind of cringing, honestly. I don't really care that this dumb whatever girl is, goofing off with their friends about, haha, oh, you know how these kids talk about sex all the time and shit
Yeah.
because it's so interesting to them. It's new, it's exciting in a way. Look, I'm not a moral Puritan about it, but at the same time, I think a lot of people wouldn't agree with me. I would imagine, and I think the parents of this child would probably have a problem with this. So I can
Yeah.
understand the I can understand the moral view here, but just personally, I don't really care. But anyways, okay, so yeah, she says no shit
Yeah, an acknowledgement.
as in the acknowledgement of this categorization, whereas initially she rejected the categorization.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
uh,
and then they go on this list of what is because Patch says sex is not safe for work, and then Suki, the minor, says Patch, it isn't a drawing, it isn't an RP, and it's like yes, I mean those things can and they can't be inherently sexual. They can,
mhm.
but it's like I don't even think we're talking about a fucking drawing. The kink might be a drawing you give somebody that is to a certain extent
Right.
sexual in nature.
Sure.
It's
What,
like,
what if the stipulation of this thread is one like, and I'll draw you a kink drawing or something, right? It could be. Who knows?
well, it's like what you're probably gonna hate my guts for this, Sheldon, but it's like
I'm gonna hate you. Yeah,
what
you figured it out.
what is what is the stigma for what you consider something to be sexual in an artistic sense? Because my thought is it's anything that
Uh,
stimulates a sexual response, like you feel sexually aroused, you get an erection or like
you think something's hot,
yeah,
basically. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, what's your question? Sorry.
I was asking what is your threshold of just something artistic being sexual? It's like obviously like imagery of
Oh,
people
well,
like
geez.
having
Yeah.
sex, like
Well, it would, you know, it has to contain information that a mind can interpret as being sexually interesting.
right.
It's really dependent on a mind rather than the information in the drawing, because the mind has to interpret the environment for it to cause a kind of effect, and of course, a sexual effect is a biological effect. So
Well, don't forget that we have to also interpret the intentions
it's
of the artist making the drawing.
Sure, sure, of course, but I would just say this: it's like the classic philosophical argument. Where does meaning exist? Is it in objects or is it in minds? Well, I think it's in minds. It's not in objects. Minds evolve to see meaning in objects. Minds evolve to interpret meaning in objects. And yeah, the authorial intent matters too,
Mm-hmm.
from the perspective of the artist. This is what they wanted to draw and wanted to communicate, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the other minds in the environment will interpret it that way. So, that's like the struggle of art and like making a show or something. Is the audience going to get what I'm trying to tell them? I hope they do, a lot of the time. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, essentially.
it's like it's always for me whenever I see this kind of shit is level of detail, I guess you could say, and
Mm.
coloring. It's like, wow, someone actually put this much in time and effort into something that I see so fundamentally degenerate.
Right, right.
Um, but I get at the same time, it's like I need money.
Yes. Well, it's like jazz. You hear jazz? She made $300 off a YCH pony porn auction just 2 days ago. $300 right there. Snap, done. Unbelievable. Crazy.
I mean, it's a living.
Yeah, well,
Did I also tell you this, Sheldon? That it was the other part is like there was a much longer explanation to the explanation whether or not a minor can draw porn, and the second fact is that it's a matter of subject, and then it's a matter of age, and the second part is what really piqued my interest was the matter of subject is this person drawing this art legally capable of being contractually bound, in essence. Uh,
okay.
and you know, my assumption is always because like me and Anthony had, like we kind of went at it in private about this, and the point he made was like when he was younger, he used to sell like comics and shit, and I
Yeah.
said, did you ask your parents before you did that? And he's like, yes. And it's like, there you go. It's that then it's legal because
Right.
your parents gave you consent to do that. I don't know
Right.
if that's moral or legal for your parents to give consent to let you like have sex with some kid. I don't know. If you're a kid and you want to have sex with someone else and both parents give consent, I'm like, what kind of tribalistic society is that?
Well, uh, see, my morals, man, that's a real hard one because on the one hand, if the kids aren't really, my thing is sexual development. Look, if a kid is
Mm,
not feeling sexual feelings, then as far as I'm concerned, they like, oh man, I could get into consent. I could get into so many things right now. For example, I think this consent argument is garbage, right? It's like, well, let's talk about what is consent. To me,
okay.
consent is an agreement to do something. And it's really independent of the degree to which you understand what you're getting into or anything like that. To me, consent is just an agreement. It's saying yes to anything. And as far as I'm concerned, this argument of kids or animals can't consent is totally incoherent because it's like, well, okay, if your criteria of somebody who can't consent is they can't understand something or they can't fully understand something or to whatever threshold you think is acceptable of understanding. Well, okay, there are plenty of adults out there who lack the intellectual capacity and all these sort of things to fully understand the things they're agreeing to, yet we let them agree to it anyways, and we say that they can consent. I mean, this seems to be a contradiction to me. It doesn't make any sense, philosophically speaking, logically speaking. Um, so, this is why I never make consent arguments. I just don't even make them. And I say, no, it's wrong if you're sexually engaging with a child because it's disgusting to me. That's what I say. Because that's really the argument people are making.
Well, I was making more of the uh, not necessarily legal appeal in Anthony's case, but like the moral appeal
Right.
that you were a kid and you respected
Yeah.
your parents and
Mm.
you asked for their
Yeah. Yeah.
permission before they could do something, and they were responsible enough
Right.
to acknowledge that you were doing a thing, and either they were supervising you or they just knew what you were up to and probably where you were going. Because
Right.
it's not like I'm gonna go deliver newspapers or some shit. It's like, do you know the route you're going? Like, do you know,
Right.
do you
Right.
know the number to call me?
But you know what? Another thing about me is that to me, what parents parents should be the ones who dictate what their kids do.
Yeah, no,
And
and
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
ultimately the point I was telling Anthony is that
Yeah.
um, the parents, like I hopefully assume that the parents are aware that the kids are making artwork online. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
excluding the pornography shit because that definitely seems like either a huge yikes. Someone
Right.
needs to call child services if the parents are aware in that case and are
Right.
enabling that behavior, or two,
Oh,
they don't know. And I'm probably going to lean more towards the latter in that case.
right.
I mean, it could still be applicable in the latter sense to children online who don't make NSFW art, uh,
Right.
but it's like I told Anthony this. It's like I don't know if most websites have contractually bound arguments for their underage users, or if it's the fact that like you're doing a transaction through PayPal and there's commission specifics. Like, is a commission itself a contractually bound agreement to perform a certain task for monetary compensation?
Right.
Uh,
Hmm.
so like I couldn't really make a
I
definitive
don't know.
statement on that factor there. Is ultimately is what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
Patch makes this appeal like she's a kid, she's still going to school. It's like, would you talk about your kinks to your principal? What
Right.
about your
Right.
teacher? And it's like, obviously no. Like even as a
Right.
kid, I'd be like, no, I talk and address people differently like in different places. Like I'd be more respectful to my teachers at school, and then when I'm out of school, I'd probably totally act and talk like a totally different person. Uh,
There's a difference when you're talking to authority figures and things of this nature, the thing is the authority figures of power and the authority figures, like not even that actually. It's like if you're not talking to your friends, if you're just talking to random people or people you wouldn't consider a friend, but by circumstance have to interact with for whatever reason, like if you're at school or the teacher or whatever. The thing is, people don't blurt these kind of things out, generally speaking, because it's seen as strange. Like if somebody does that, everybody else recognizes that that's not a normal social behavior, and like all they're really doing is they're adding possible negative consequences reputationally to themselves, right?
mm-hmm.
That's all that really serves to do, most of the time, and most people recognize this. That's why they don't blurt these kind of things out. But yeah, like you're saying, this 16-year-old with her friends or whatever, well, that's different because it's a group of kind of similar aged, like-minded people who they have a certain level of trust. They have and because of that trust and because of that reciprocity, that the furthering of that allows the more revealing of more and more personal information, right? So
Well,
um,
it's like I'd say the one difference is that it would be I'd agree in the sense that it's like if you're IRL with your friends, there are barriers that protect you. Like one of them is like the cops, the law,
yeah.
other adults that protect you from danger, and then like you could go to a private room with your friends, but even if it is private, you still run the risk of those barriers being breached. Even worse,
uh,
more so in a public place. You know what I'm
sure,
saying?
I
Uh,
guess.
and I think what Patch is trying to say here is that these barriers are non-existent. You're basically out in the wilderness when you're doing this sort of stuff.
Right. Right. Essentially, the argument is, somebody could come your way who sweeps you off your feet in a sense. And because you're a dumb girl who's really swayed by sexual feelings, you're going to go through with things uh, to a point, and either you'll continue going through with things or you won't, but this person will force something on you in which there will be a negative consequence, and look, it's something you're going to regret, or it could hurt you in some way emotionally or do whatever. Yeah, that's essentially the argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
But
I get it.
you
I
know,
understand.
like I said before, it's like this is essentially what Patch is saying when they say, no, it isn't. Uh,
Right.
it's weird how like she writes these sentences because like Suki's like that is irrelevant, like a question. It's like it is kind of relevant. It's relevant to you winning this argument. I
Right.
um so yeah, you're a dumb kid. Um, no, it
Right.
isn't. You are a child. You shouldn't be talking about sex online. Want me to get Liu involved in this again? So it's like I say here is probably the first or second red flag that Lucifer is trying to point out here,
Yes.
and it's like, do you want me to get another adult involved here? Uh,
Right.
and then like they don't even
Basically,
answer
Patch is like
that.
a woman, right? So a male authority figure does a better job of you know manipulating people's behavior to his or whoever's sick that male on them advantage, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she's leveraging the fact that Leo's a man and who's aggressive, that I'm going to give you this experience I know you don't want if you don't do this, basically.
Right, and it's like here's the thing: Suki was a lot more willing to like give me the
Which, by
full.
the way, they call blackmail. They call that blackmail.
Right, hang on a sec.
Right. Right.
Uh, hold on. Yeah, Leo, man, bad. You bad man, Leo. Uh, what was I getting back to here? Um, so I talked to both Lucifer and Suki in their DMs, and like I knew it was like when I found out that Lucifer was older, I was like, okay, she's probably going to be a lot more harder to prod for legitimate
Right.
information because they are playing the role of the protective adults.
Right.
Um, cringe enough as that sounds, it's like Jesus God.
Indeed.
Like
Pretty much.
when we get to these DMs, Sheldon, you're probably
Well, isn't
just
that
gonna
what
like
you guys are doing when you're like stopping, like trying to protect these kids and shit? You're doing the same thing,
uh
really.
I guess you could say that. It's like
In a more indirect way, though, in a less feminine, compassionate way, and more of in a masculine. I'm gonna challenge you kind of way. But anyways, go on.
are we talking about when I expose pedophiles or just when like
Oh, whenever
oh
you're
okay.
protecting a child from somebody, I mean, you are acting as a parental sort of figure, right?
Well, it's like here's the thing. I don't even think I can protect this kid at this point. I think we're
Well, no, I
we're
think
too far gone along the path of no return.
we're too far into the rebellious teenager stage to
Mm.
protect anybody, essentially.
Well, it's like Suki was a lot more willing to give me screenshot evidence than
Right.
Lucifer was. That was like the ultimate point. I'd say like the biggest prodding points I was able to pull out was like contradictions. Uh,
Right. Right.
it's like she says, "Oh, I'm confident in my friend's ability to act responsibly online." It's like,
Right.
okay, then why did this shit with Patch happen? And it's like if you think they're so responsible, why do they need your intervention
Well, I
on
guess what they're
this?
saying is, I trust my friend to engage in some sexual things and not get caught into something bad. Whereas Patch is saying you can engage in no sexual things on the internet because you will, or something bad might happen to you, right? So I think that's the difference.
Mm-hmm. I haven't.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Suki's numbers are somewhere in the 300s of followers. I know that Lucifer is like
Huh.
1100, but
I
I have
see.
to double check that later. Um,
1100. Twitter
mm-hmm.
famous.
I know. Um, so their retort is like not even a yes or no response. It's like Patch, that one like equals one like king thing is just a fun experience.
It's just
About.
Look. I want to fuck the 8-year-old. It's just a fun experience, okay?
You
It's
know?
just fun. Don't understand.
Uh,
Fucking idiot.
I feel like I really wanted to ask Lucifer that, but was it like, did you? I didn't want to accuse him of this, but it's like, did you teach them to say that? That it's a fun experience?
Right.
It's just, it
Like,
sounds
yeah,
so
no shit. You
vague.
think it's fun. It's something you want to do, so you think it's fun in some way, right? I mean,
It was,
uh,
as we're
yeah,
get,
it's fun, but it's also sexual, isn't it? And I don't like that it's sexual. That's the
mm,
point. That's the point, really.
it's like, it's what's worse about it is like they justify it. It's like I ain't the only one doing it. I ain't the only minor doing it.
As if, yeah,
I'm
right.
like, holy shit, like no fucking
I'm not the
shit.
only murderer, on
Yeah,
this
you
planet.
know,
Why you go find another murderer? Okay,
just leave me alone.
Yeah, leave me alone, bro.
It's
Fucking retard.
um, you're a child, and then they're like, okay, and it's like, tell me the names, tell me names. Yeah, it's like, give me names. If there's, like, I agree with Patch's stance there. It's like if you think that there are other people that you know that would actually be in danger, or people that you know that actually do this, then give me their names. And they're like, no, because if I do, I'll confront them too. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's like I don't like conflict. Fucking hell.
Want you to deserve. I think she's also worried that her friends will get mad at her due to it. Because if she coughs up names, then it'll probably eventually be found out that she's the one who gave the names. And oh my God, I don't know what's this chick's name again. The Patch is
Suki.
talking to
Suki.
Suki. Yeah, Suki. Oh my God, Suki, you got this crazy old lady on us. I hate you. You're such a bitch. Ruining our fun. You can't be our friend anymore. She's worried about that shit too, I'm sure. Yeah,
That's definitely one of her bigger complaints. Is it's like no
right,
one wants to like do shit with me anymore. I'm like, okay, first of all, that's extremely hyperbolic. I'm calling
right.
bullshit
Yeah,
on that.
that's totally temper tantrum level exaggeration. Yeah, definitely.
Uh, this this just came to me, Sheldon. It's like I want to go back
Oh,
real quick on the whole like artists drawing pornography and like damaging their reputation. It's like I want to think about that real quick. It's like if you want to start fresh, it's like you turn an adult and you have this reputation carrying with you that like when you were younger you used to make porn and either you don't do that anymore or you're still doing it. That's still going to follow you and it gets you to the point where you want to basically go forward with a clean slate. So it means you have to make a new account and you also have to restyle your artwork so no one can like recognize.
recognize it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like I can't imagine how like fucking difficult that would be, you know, or just like how much
It,
time
it
that
would
would
be like
take.
it would be. I can imagine it actually because it would be like me. I play drums a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like me hiding the way I naturally play the drums. I mean, it sounds impossible. It sounds like I would have to practice, lock myself in a basement for a month, and just never stop practicing to totally change my entire sound. And I mean, yeah, I can imagine that would be crazy ridiculous for most people.
But yeah, it's like Patch makes the point, and I have no idea when the shit was dated. Like there, I'm
Right.
pretty like I don't know when there was dates, but there was like definitely, and we'll get to it, like a public instance where Patch had called someone out who's deleted their account, and Suki was the person involved with this.
Right.
Uh, so I'm assuming either this happened before that, and the date I believe of that instance was the 29th of December.
Hmm.
Uh, so
Okay.
yeah, again I don't know. Um, I tried to do this civilly and privately. Now I'm getting Leo involved, and we will contact your parents. Of course you will. You don't know my parents. I ain't afraid. It's like, oh, okay. Uh,
Oh, you're gonna call my parents. Oh
oh
no.
no.
I mean, uh, the fact that anybody interprets, I'm gonna call your parents
As a
and
threat.
tell and
Hello?
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 You're back?
Yeah, I don't know why my
I think
internet.
you're in.
Oh no.
Your stream died too.
Oh, my stream died too?
Well, it was just load. I think it's back now. It was just continuously loading
Hmm,
or buffering. Sorry.
that's weird. That's really
Yeah.
weird. Now
Well,
people are starting to pour in. They're like, oh, I hate that internet's fucking up.
11 viewers. You get more viewers than me.
I
Damn.
know.
Actually, let me just grab a drink quickly.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Holy shit. Okay.
How's everybody doing? Somebody other than Leo say something. It's telling me to try again later. But just we pop out the chat and then pulling it back in. Holy shit. It says unable to connect to chat. Please try again later.
Hello?
Hello?
What's up, nigger?
It says
Oh
that.
shit! I just got you demonetized.
Oh,
Sorry.
you did? I don't give a
Okay,
shit.
good. Nigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it says it's unable to connect to the chat. Please try again later.
Oh.
Does that mean that no
Oh.
one's going to be able to type shit now?
Well, I see the chat. Let me type something.
Yeah, type
Hi.
something in there, man.
It works.
Yeah, I can't see it from this end, but it's definitely.
So you can't see your own chat, but the chat can see the chat. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
Wholeheartedly
well,
hilarious.
I
Uh,
guess I'll relay if somebody has a question or
okay,
something.
if anyone has a question, let me know.
All right.
Ah, fuck it. So, where were we? If I can't apparently have fun. Oh, what were you saying? Like, her parents are gonna like beat the shit out of her. It's like when they find out like she's been drawing pornography,
Oh
Sheldon.
yeah, I was saying that I think the statistics are on my side. I predict that, if we were to call this person's parents and tell them this, their parents would not like the fact that their child was doing that.
Yeah.
They would be pissed off and they would try to put a stop to it, would be my prediction. So
Suki,
I'm saying I'll
what?
put down 10 grand right here, right now. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, bets are up, bitches.
Yeah,
It's like they're
let's
gonna
do
be
it.
like, Suki, what the fuck is Omarashi?
Yeah, right.
It's like, why is this dude pissing on this other dude?
What is sounding? Can you explain this to me?
What is vor? Tell me what
All right.
vor is. Are those do those chicks have dicks? What the fuck?
Yeah. What is futanari?
Yeah.
What is this? Uh, it's like a I was gonna say like a Japanese dish, but now that I think about it, it doesn't really sound like that. But whatever.
Okay. Experimenting on my OC is also like ambiguously vague.
That
And
sounds
what the
kind of weird.
fuck can I do? I don't know. Like get a job. You're 16. You can get a
You can
job.
do
Jesus.
everything, anything else but what that thing.
Get a learner's permit. Join a school like program. Rob a fucking liquor
Play
store.
soccer. Yeah, right. Uh,
Like do anything else besides like
write edgy fan
yeah,
fictions.
write edgy fan fictions like me.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Uh, you act as if I am an idiot and don't know internet safety. Well, obviously not. It obviously doesn't seem that you know safety. But again, like I don't know if this like these DMs happened before or after like the public back and forth on Twitter. We'll get to later. I am sick and
Right.
tired of this patch. Yes, please get involved with when I am actually being texted by an actual predator. It's like, okay, but this is what patch is trying to avoid. Is like
Right.
this from happening. It's like,
Right.
uh,
The whole point of this is preventative
yeah,
measure,
it's a
basically.
predative
Yeah.
measure. Um, the people I text are people I have known information of, like that Lyric account, AFK Fia, or that Darcy account. They are older than me, but we both know our limits. It's like, what the fuck does that even mean? Is it like it means that like that could be interpreted as like, oh, how far we'll go sexually, or like we just won't go sexually either way. It's like that's very
Which is
open.
nonsense because, I mean, let's be honest. if the right kind of guy comes into her radar, that her brain is just naturally going to find attraction towards because
Yeah,
she doesn't control any of it.
and
Let's be
gravitate
honest. It's
towards
not
it.
right. She's going to then want it. And she's not, she's going to be, she's going to think like, guys are really good at leading chicks on. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? We lead them on into like, I'll be with you forever and I'm never going to cheat on you and all this kind of shit. It's all lies half the fucking time
Mm-hmm.
because this is what women want to hear. They want to hear commitment. And if they hear commitment, they're more likely to put out, right? So guys know this. And a guy could use that on her. Just imagine the scenario, the right kind of brain, the right kind of man, which by the way is that unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most people are attracted to many different people in their social circles, in their real life, right? So for somebody on the internet to come across you being a right compatible match is probably greater than just being in your local vicinity. But anyways, the right kind, the right kind of guy comes by and manipulates you into it. The thing is, your limits are irrelevant. Whatever you think your inhibitory mechanisms are, and whatever belief you have, I have such great control over them, and all this bullshit. It's complete fucking nonsense. You actually don't have any control over it,
Mm-hmm.
and given the right stimulus, you're going to fall victim to it. You will be hypnotized by it. You will be enthralled and invigorated and extremely interested in it. And these things won't matter anymore. All that will matter is the guy and his dick. That's all that's going to matter to you. And that's how you're going to open yourself up to manipulation because, well, this is just how men and women are when it comes to sex. It's so highly motivational. It's so highly it has such a strong influence on our behaviors that it tends to override other things, you know? So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I get
she's
it.
she's fucking she's a stupid 16-year-old basically. She doesn't get it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So on top of that, openly admitting to stalking, harassing, bullying, who, like, bullying, it's like, I don't think
Bullying,
Patch has,
yeah,
like,
like
insulted this kid once.
right.
Like,
Well,
you're
she's
insinuating that
intimidating
I'm dumb.
her. She's intimidating her with threats or something, it's like, okay.
Uh,
Well,
I guess so.
is it bullying when my boss threatens to fire me because I've done something bad that they think is bad? I mean, wouldn't that be bullying by the same criteria or the same standard,
Well, I mean,
right?
it's like, I don't know, Sheldon. It's like, if I tell you to not put your hand on that stove because it will burn your fingers, is that a threat?
Right, right. No, but if you said to me, "Don't put your fingers on that stove," and if you defy me in this action, I'm gonna get my brother to come here and yell at you. That's more the accurate analogy, I think. But yeah, basically, is this bullying? Well, I don't see it as bullying. I see it as a minor kind of threat. I see it as a uh, really quite inconsequential sort of thing. Okay, so what if she did it? So what if the parents were called? So what if you get grounded for a week or a month and you have no internet for a week? This will all go away very quickly. It's just this overblowing of severity and danger and bad emotions. It just sickens me. It just fucking disgusts me how pathetically sensitive people are nowadays to even a threat of talking to your parents. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tell how sensitive they are because they interpret that as bullying, as abuse, as harassment, as blackmail. I mean, it's totally crazy.
Uh, it's I definitely say it in a certain sort of sense it's discriminatory. In an autistic sense, you'd call it fucking ageist or whatever, because it's like, you're the child, I'm the adult, we're different and shit, you know.
Right.
And then it's like, in this interpretation, it's like, age is just a number, man. Oh, okay, it's like, I heard you fine. You were
Your
coming in.
stream started buffering again, so that's how I can tell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you can't see who's the one with the problem, it's clearly you. And it's like Patch says, you promise not to post NSFW porn or sexual content again, for obvious reasons. Like, Patch wouldn't give evidence of this, like,
Would
to
Patch
the
get
minor
mad if she
directly.
posted like What if this chick just posted some scientific fact about sex? Would she be like, that's sexual content? You can't post that. Would she do that? Do you think?
I think just the targeted people that like Patch is worried that they're going to interact with aren't
Yeah.
really going to be interested generally.
Right.
It's like I don't think it's a big turn on for people to be like talking about sex. And
Hold
oh my god.
I'd love
Okay,
to
that
just
that wasn't me.
join midway. I know. For
You were
once, it
like
wasn't you.
quiet for a while. Here, I need to tell Sheldon you died. Sheldon, you died.
Sheldon.
Yeah.
He's dead. Yeah. Well, I like that I just joined to midway of Sheldon just fucking ranting. That was entertaining.
Uh, but,
This-
but yeah, Ruza, did you have a chance to go through the thread that the Zoophile police retweeted?
Uh,
The one
they
that Lucifer
retweeted a
made.
new one, or the
No,
one where they
the one the
apologized.
night before. Like it was before they made the apology. The one that
Oh
was
yeah,
written by that Lucifer guy.
yeah. I went through some of that.
What were your initial impressions of it exactly?
I just seen it as petty, if I'm being honest.
I mean, it's super petty. I did some digging, and I even confronted, Lucifer about it. It's like I'm noticing some contradictions here, some holes in the story, and I need you to supply me evidence. And most of it was no. You know,
Um, a wise thing is never trust somebody with a has-been hotel profile picture.
I'm not gonna. I like just don't trust
Sorry.
anybody with a role play account.
Oh yeah,
Wait, hold on.
that's
They're
very
probably fucking baby murderers.
important.
Okay, the watch together is just playing. It's annoying.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyways, yeah, sorry, my computer died.
That's
that's
fine.
fine.
All right.
So it's like there's basically an agreement going on, and the reason why this is happening is because the agreement was broke. Again, no idea when the fuck this happened, and I guess we'll get into that later when Leo comes back in.
Yeah.
We're going a little bit too long on this, but we'll get this done soon. So learn to keep your promises because in the real world, this kind of behavior is what makes you unemployable. Which I don't find too far out of the realm of impossibility. It's like if a
Sure, an
company
employer could
could find this
theoretically
account.
find something. Yeah, sure.
Um, so yeah, look at the dates and then be like make a parallel. It's like, oh my god, this person was underage when they did this stuff. And then it gets documented, it gets circulated through, and it's like if other places she wants to go to get employment, they're gonna find that shit too. It's just how it works.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
So it's like Lucifer, you're enabling the possibility that, and you're probably worsening the possibility that your friend is going to be unemployed.
Oh, it's possible.
Because
Look,
it's
I
like,
do think. Well, I mean, there's a lot of questions here, right?
yeah, no,
Does
definitely.
does this person's, is their name attached to this account? Would anyone actually find it? I mean, you have to ask these questions. But yeah, assuming that was the case, then yeah, definitely, no question.
Uh, it's just like again, I don't remember what her follower count is. It's just that like
Right,
his is pretty big. It's not huge. I don't think it's bigger than the Zoophile police's, but
right,
it's still pretty significant.
right.
So I don't know the full story. So it's like I'm appalled and hurt. My friend is being stalked by an artist that has their own lives. It's like, what?
Wait, what did they say?
They're appalled that their friend is being stalked by someone who has a life of their own.
Oh, yeah,
It's like,
you see
yeah,
the friendship bias here, can't you? You
yeah,
see the
no, I
friendship
could definitely
bias,
see
yeah.
the stay away from my role play sister bias.
Right. My friends on the internet,
Mm.
stay away.
It's like
Basically.
here's your stalking, Lucifer. It's called following somebody and getting
Right.
notifications of fucking
Right. There's
Twitter on
there's
your
a difference
feed.
between stalking and following.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. That's actually a great point. I didn't even think of that. Very true.
Because I'm assuming this is Twitter. It's probably most definitely Twitter. I don't get how just stalking is a factor. Like harassment maybe, but it's like you've only given us one conversation, and I
Am
went.
I stalking people when I follow them on Twitter?
I guess But it's like if
By
that's
this
the
standard,
case,
it seems to be,
it's
right?
that if that's the case, then they have the power to prevent that from happening. Again, this goes
Right.
back to our discussion about like on the internet there are less barriers than there are IRL. But
Yes.
ironically, there are barriers on the internet that you wouldn't have IRL, and that's the block button or the mute
Right.
button. And it's like if you feel like you're being stalked, then block this person.
Yes,
It's like, well,
absolutely.
why? Like, have they blocked Patch? I don't know.
Right.
Um, and it's like over what? An opinionated cleavage drawing that houses no NSFW, which is also something I get into with it later. You should
Right.
work with
Cleavage
YouTube.
isn't sexual, okay?
You should work with YouTube because your ideas about safer work at NSFW follows that category. It's like, ooh, sick burn, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Goofy.
We really need to do a
Goofy shit.
stream about YouTube's terms of service policy with like what is kid friendly and what is not.
I would hate that so much.
Ah, fuck that.
Look who blocked. So this is literally 6 hours later
Yeah,
after they made that post that they had reported Patch's account. It's look
sure.
who blocked me, guys. Someone who can't take the criticism. Which again is at 11:45 p.m. It's like, you know, wow. It's like you're taking the forefront on this, and it's like not even once have I seen you like directly mention this person in your thread. It's like how fucking pathetic do you have to be?
Right.
But what I do know is that Suki
Oh,
had started like a comment thread on this at 6:04, so it is possible that by that time Patch would have seen it.
right.
I don't know for certain, but
Hmm.
there's definitely the possibility. But it's like this guy is, this chick is claiming the high ground here and being like, I'm the badass bitch protecting this kid now. But it's
Oh,
like
yeah, totally.
I'm not even gonna take the opportunity to confront you directly. It's like the burden on you is to come face me. And it's like, okay, I guess. It's like
Right.
that's also assuming the fact that they knew this was happening up until that point.
Right.
Um,
Right. Obviously.
so all bark, but too much of a prissy to stand for yourself. How does it feel to be called out for your own bullshit? Not to be new to now to be now seen as a bully. And as far as I know, no one is calling you a pedophile. Already misconceptions with your indirect statement. So yeah, no, like this was these screenshots.
Yeah, Patch was getting at, look, when people say see child abuser, they're going to assume that means abuse a child sexually,
Yeah,
right? Now, Patch's wording here is terrible because they're not really actually saying that she's a pedo or anything. So I mean, that's definitely a misappropriation, but I
But
get her concern there definitely.
yesterday, didn't they mention Lucifer calling her a pedophile, or was that just something that I missed?
it was. I think that was something
Um,
I said, but it was basically it's the first.
right. I do remember hearing that, but I haven't seen it though. I haven't seen
Yeah, same.
any public claim of it. So here hates back, I think.
Hello.
Yeah.
Wow, what do you live in Africa?
No,
I don't know about that. I question
I
that.
have
Like,
3 bars, man. I don't know how the fuck this is happening.
I think you should call your
It it
ISP.
was fine the last stream we did it. Like there was no
Yeah,
interruptions.
yeah.
Oh,
Um,
I don't know.
so
whoa.
this is what
Yeah.
Lucifer said, Ruza. It was enjoy your fame along with Sly and Hyper, who are both proven to be pedophiles.
So is Patch like interpreting that as, oh, because he's saying these two are pedophiles, that now I'm a pedophile or something? It's
It's like I guess you could say it's like your fame is basically infamy, or it's basically they are
yeah,
attributing those qualities uh, as like her interactions with
yeah.
this
He's
minor is
yeah.
something that Sly and Hyper have done. I'm not familiar with Hyper. I've seen his name pop up a couple times when I was doing some digging on this shit, but
It just seems like an attempt of a guilt by association smear. Essentially, it's kind of like, but without a direct association, if that makes sense. It's like
yeah.
enjoy your fame along with these two people who were proven to be bad people as well. You know that's kind of what you know. You're in the bad person category, but they use pedophile instead of bad person. You know.
So this is Suki's commentary on this. So my biggest complaint with this is that it's mostly anecdotal. I mean, it's partially commentary on the context of what's going on, so it's like it's skewed in her favor because it's like, oh, I was there, and it's like I can explain what was happening.
Right, right.
And I don't need to provide further evidence in
Right.
that sense. So, what's going on between the conversation? Well, a month ago, a call-up post of me was posted that I was having some complaints about how my account was being run. Ran. There you go. Ran.
Run, yeah, I was being run.
From the liking, retweeting, and exposing.
Retard!
From the
Sorry.
liking, retweeting, and exposing other minors to NSFW content. It's like those are pretty valid complaints. If that's what's happening. If you're,
Right,
exposing
yeah,
other
yeah.
minors to that shit.
This is a factually accurate description.
So
yes.
they've made the admittance to this here, or at least, or she's listing that these are the complaints, and again, so she's. I'll go back and say it wasn't an admittance. It's just these are what these complaints were, and there is no evidence that I did these things.
It's kind of like saying, sorry to interrupt you, but this. Wait, I'm sorry. The stream's just blurry. I can't read this person's name.
Oh, I can. Just bump up the resolution. It's fine for me.
Gee, thanks.
Yeah, I'm very helpful. I'm like
Yeah,
tech
I can
support.
tell. Sue, yes. Okay, listen to this. I fucking love this. I had no complaints for any direct minors, and no one seemed to have a problem with it. I mean, it's like I'm bitching about you doing something that I know might lead to bad things, and you're like, well, nothing bad happened. That's what she's basically saying, and it's like, okay, yeah, if I go out and try to murder somebody, and I end up failing because I'm a terrible murderer, and I go to the judge, well, look, nothing bad happened. I didn't even murder him. Like, come on, dude, what the fuck? I'm still gonna get in trouble,
Yeah,
right?
it's attempted
right.
murder.
Right, exactly. So, completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I wish to have. Sorry, I wish to have known that people didn't like what I was doing instead of hiding away and telling someone else. But here's the real catch. Oh, here we go.
Oh boy.
The big drop here. The big gotcha.
Just waiting for full scroll down.
I already did.
Waiting for the stream to catch up to full scroll. There we go.
There we go.
The person mentioned on this tweet and not on the screenshot, Hyper, they were one of the people that had complained to the user about my stuff. Hyper and I used to have a friendship between each other, but tons of shit happened, and now we're no longer in that status.
This is really an insignificant thing, but I love this. Well, not even that. I mean, my complaint here. Hyper and I used to have a friendship between each other. Well, yeah, that's kind of tautological, right? It's like you saying you had a friendship implies it was between you two, so it's redundant. But anyways,
yeah. But I would like to inform their age as it was irrelevant, or that it is relevant, and it was something they hid from Patch.
okay.
It's like, okay.
So what?
It's like I'd like evidence of that. They, it's like, where was this in your DMs with Patch? It's like, did you tell them this? Right. Obviously not. They have told Patch that I had sent them NSFW art that they didn't consent on, which they did, and said they were uncomfortable with it.
Okay, what is her point?
She's saying that Patch has been manipulated.
Okay, evidence required. Citation needed.
It's like, why are you giving Patch the benefit of like this whole basically? It's like you're basically admitting that she was being manipulated.
Right. Thus
or being
justifying
misled.
her concern that manipulation might happen, right? Because then it would have, I guess, right?
Yeah, that means that you're totally putting yourself in the wrong in this sense.
Right. You're not arguing well for your own position here.
Right.
Basically.
Want to know why that is relevant? Because a 19-year-old adult they are, before I even sent that drawing, They had sent me NSFW porn. I will not name what it is, but it was heavily disgusting. They bribed me by telling me they will send NSFW back to my drawings. What? What is this English?
They will send it. Wait, back to see my. Oh wait, does she mean an audience? What? I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Okay,
The
dumb
point is,
16-year-olds.
the
Anyways,
point is, they hid this from Patch so that they wouldn't make themselves seem bad. It's like, okay, so you're basically exposing Hyper as a pedophile, which we're led to believe by Lucifer's post because I haven't seen any mention by Patch. Like I said before, I searched her name and I searched Hyper's name, and I only got one instance of that happening, and that was the discussion between Suki and Patch. That's it.
look, can we appreciate that none of this is really
Matters.
refutation, and not that refutation is applicable here, but it's not really addressing Patch's point here, moral argument, which is, um, you know,
Well, I think
you're not to expose anybody to NSFW, and you're not to be exposed to it in public spaces.
okay.
That's her. That's the entire point here. This girl, her responses are just not relevant to any of it. She's not arguing like how her being exposed to NSFW or others is not harmful and that Patch is overreacting. She's just not addressing it, right? So let's
Well, it's like they're saying that this dude, Hyper or whatever, fuck, sent me porn, uh, and then went to Patch about it to cover their ass, and this, I'm assuming this is supposed to be relevant to Patch
yeah.
bringing up the fact in their DM conversations that they have evidence that Suki had sent someone porn or was given porn. I I don't know.
I don't know. I
I
don't
don't fucking know.
Dude, I need another 15-year-old to translate this for me. Like I don't
I
get it.
know.
I'm too
Should we
stupid.
get Step in the call?
Yeah, good idea.
Uh,
The neo-Nazi can
yeah, the
solve it.
neo-Nazi. They
Indeed.
hid this from Patch so that they wouldn't make themselves seem bad, and they got the excuse from it since it was in the past.
Right.
Again, I want proof. And
Right.
I was still
Yeah.
in the wrong because from the complaints they gave me to Patch was, Patch, I was bullying, ERPing, sexting, sending porn to minors without consent. It's like, yeah, it's like you need to take into consideration that if you were to retweet something and you don't go out of your way to say this is an account made for an adults and you know that you have children following you, like
Mm.
like you can see when someone follows you in most cases, like in the examples Patch provides in this discussion between themselves and Suki, that
Yeah.
her followers or whoever are liking these images apparently,
Yeah.
they give their age and they're underaged, all of them that she provides, like the
Right.
4 examples.
Right.
Uh,
Right. Okay.
so because of the call out, they have they have slandered my name into a criminal.
What?
What?
No. Nobody is claiming you've engaged in criminal activity, you idiot.
No.
You fucking actual retard. Holy shit.
I'm porno hood. There you go.
It's
Uh,
it's like she doesn't understand that investigating is not only relegated to a state police activity. You know, anyone can investigate things for reasons, right? I mean,
exactly.
she's like, oh, they use the word investigate. It's like I'm a criminal or something. You know? Okay.
Before the call out, they have been openly admitted they have been investigating my page for weeks, and like I
Oh
said, we'll
yeah.
get to that later.
You
Uh,
fucking criminal!
Fucking criminal, you're gonna go to fucking jail.
Going to jail, bitch.
Uh,
Cringe.
Prison queen, bitch.
Pretty much.
And yes, we did eventually handled it in the call, but I was never informed of being recorded by Patch. So this is when we get to the legal shit. It's like you're gonna throw legalities at me. I'm gonna throw legalities back at you. It's like,
We did eventually handle it in the call, but I was never informed of being recorded by Pat. And yeah, I mean, I have to read this like a retard. The way she uses look, I'm kind of a retard too. She did this twice now, handled, and she used another word earlier that was like runned. I runned away
Mm-hmm.
from the whatever.
I
Whatever.
killed it myself from this
I killed
autism.
it myself, like a total autism,
I'm gonna kill
Okay,
it
I was
myself
never
right now.
informed to being recorded. Well, who cares? I don't care.
And
And
yes,
yes,
in their state,
their
they only
state.
needed the consent of one person to record, but their excuse was they usually do this to catch predators. I like to remind you all that
Is that a
everyone's
bad thing?
they're trying to make this point where it's like this recording they did, it's not legal. That's basically their point.
Hey, can I read chat real fast?
Yeah,
Oh,
what does
please.
chat
I've
want?
noticed it just now.
Okay, Pineapple said, Patch being sneaky as hell as always. The same person said, dude, what the heck? You're just making fun of people instead of taking this matter seriously.
Here's the thing. What's this guy's name? Pineapple. That's a pretty
Pineapple
gay. By the
411.
way, that's a real gay. My guys.
Oh,
Oh
God.
god.
I consider
Uh,
one can take things seriously while
uh,
also making fun
Pineapple,
of people. You fucking idiot. Holy shit. Anyways.
Pineapple killed Sheldon's internet right there. The
Oh, damn.
retardation
Do you
killed
want to
his
repeat
internet.
that
Damn.
shit
Am I
again?
back? Am I
Yeah,
back?
yeah, you're back.
Yeah,
You're
you're
back.
Pineapple
back.
doxing me? Shit. Or sorry. It's pineapple DDoSing me is
He's
what I meant.
4channing the shit out of you, man. It's going
Or
to
chatting the shit
8chan.
out of me.
It's going all the way up to
Yeah.
8, my man.
Yeah, dude.
The
So
hack
just
button
Fucking
is
repeated what you
bullshit.
wanted to
look.
say.
Yeah, well, I said pineapple. Have you considered the possibility that one can take things seriously and also laugh at dumb things as seen, serious circumstances? You seem really stupid. Just saying. Anyways, let's keep going.
Well, I mean, what I find hilarious about this is just that anyone takes this evidence or this standard of evidence seriously.
Right, essentially.
Um, that everyone's part, blah blah blah. It's illegal to record any parties without their
What's the
consent.
she's doing this. She's doing this as a response to Patch to also attack her social reputation, right? Essentially. Now it's valid in the sense that, well, from her perspective, Patch is attacking her for what she naturally just wants to do of her own free will, of her own autonomy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Patch is an adult here and is noticing some, let's admit, some possibilities how this could lead to bad things happening. Although it's not conclusive, although it's not necessarily the case. We all have to acknowledge this because that is the fact.
Exactly.
But this girl feels attacked, and thus she's attacking Patch back essentially. But she's utilizing things unrelated to Patch's problem with her behavior. So she's utilizing things like, well, Patch recorded me and blah blah blah, and all of these kind of not related to the main issue, but could possibly make Patch look bad with the right mind interpreting it, with the mind who would agree with her morally speaking,
Yeah,
right?
no, I gotcha.
Does it still sound like we're just trolling Pineapple, giving real arguments? Is that trolling, you retard? Anyways, go
Mm-hmm.
on.
So they decide to cite California law because that is where they live. Uh,
Right.
so it's basically, I'm assuming this is just basically saying like California is a two-party consent, or it's like
Yeah.
all-party consent, which means that like everyone involved with the call needs to consent and acknowledge the fact that they're being recorded and agreed to giving consent. Um, again, I don't.
Here's the thing.
Do you
Here's the
know?
thing,
Does anyone
Pineapple.
know
Hold
what?
on, I got to
Okay.
respond to this. Here's the thing, Pineapple. I'm not here to defend Patch. I'm here to comment on dumb shit on the internet. I don't give a fuck about Patch nor her reputation. So I don't know. I guess you care about making Patch look good or bad.
Well,
I don't know.
it's like
This isn't
hang on,
relevant.
Sheldon, hang on,
Yeah,
Sheldon.
well, hold on. I'm
How
not
are
done.
okay?
I'm not done. This isn't relevant to my motivations, so I don't care. Anyways, go on.
It's like how the hell are we making Patch look worse?
Right. Well, there is that. Well, we're making Patch look worse in the sense that we are the kind of people who are using certain language and behaving in certain ways.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
no, here you are. Never
It's
mind.
like
We
the
lost the stream though, or
no.
I did at the very least.
Okay. Is it
Anyways,
not
go on.
live
Sorry,
anymore?
I'm interrupting.
Is
I
it
keep
not
interrupting.
live anymore? It says it's still live.
don't know if it's live.
Because it
Yeah,
keeps
it's live.
saying that
We're
the
good.
stream health is
We're good.
excellent, so it's like
Yeah.
whatever. So,
Anyways,
so
go
it's
on.
like, it's like the whole guilt by association.
You must be back to the extent that I can talk to you in the call.
Okay. I have no
Yeah.
idea what the fuck
So
is causing this. It's
I
like,
don't know.
but this whole like guilt by association bullshit is like the same reason why people at one point were defending pedophiles, because it's like, or just like the people who actually go out of their way to expose pedophiles in the brony community, like back in the early
Right.
days. It's like this person is associated with X, and therefore they cannot be associated with us, and we cannot help them. It's like the
Right.
same reason why, like, I wasn't allowed to like share, uh, like my Toon Critic video or whatever, and like certain servers,
Right.
because it's like, one, it's like we don't want this drama in here, and then two, it's like you're associated with Vita, you're Vita's friend, and I was like, no, Vita, me and
Indeed.
him are not friends.
Well,
I don't.
again, it's look. If you're somebody who's, I never think to myself this thought when I'm hearing people talk about other people. I don't think to myself the tone and language, and how do I frame this? Like it's hard to explain. It's like, okay, the facts are accurate. Anything else unrelated to that is not coloring my opinion about somebody, because I'm only going off the factual. It's not, I can describe somebody in a mean way or a nice way, but all I'm interested in is the description of it. I'm not interested in the tone or anything like this by the people who are making those statements. And I certainly don't take their tone and then, I would never be somebody who would hear that tone and then think worse of the person they're talking about because of the tone. I mean, that to me that makes no fucking sense and is totally retarded. So that's kind of what this guy is saying in chat, right? It's like, well, you're not representing Patch in a positive way. This isn't respectable enough. But it's like, well, the way we're talking about it is not actually related to Patch and what she's doing. We're not misconstruing what she's doing. We're not misrepresenting it. We're just using our own brand of humor and our personalities to communicate those facts to you, and on top of it, give our own personal judgments, which would obviously not be Patch's judgments because we're not Patch.
Mhm.
So I mean, the level of retardation coming from this audience member is incredible. But anyways,
Well, it's like
I want to be on
they
it.
just don't like our standard of presentation, Sheldon. It's not
I
as good
suppose,
as
yeah.
ours. It's like we should go check out Pineapple next stream, see what
Yeah,
kind
we
of
should.
content they
Yeah.
have. They
Well,
have on their
Pineapple can
channel.
come and chat maybe if
Oh
he wants. Maybe he should come on the stream right
yeah, I
now.
mean
He's perfectly welcome.
it's like I have the
Come
Discord
talk
link
about it.
if you
Yeah,
wanna.
come talk about it. If you want to come here and criticize our style, why don't you do it live in front of everybody? Come
Yeah,
face us. But anyways,
just hit the Discord.
um,
Just hit the Discord link button and then add me on.
also, what's with your expectation of a respectable sort of
It's like did you see the
stream?
fucking thumbnail? It's like did you see? It's like
Right. Did you click on this thinking we would be that way? I mean, that's your assumption, my dude, not ours.
it's
But
like
anyways,
I'm basically giving a long jived explanation to Lucifer to
right,
shut the fuck up.
right, exactly.
Um, the
Total
most
cringe, total faggotry. Who cares?
the most is no in most circumstances. So this is them
Yeah,
citing California Penal Code again. This is basically
yeah,
saying California is an all-party consent state, and their point is I never agreed to be recorded, so therefore patch Leo bad.
yeah. Essentially,
It's like, okay, well, where's the proof where you say, like, in a screenshot in a conversation dated before, that what the fuck, I never
yeah,
agreed to be recorded. It's like, or like present evidence where like during your interactions with Patch and Leo that they said we're gonna do a call, and they never told you it was recorded or was going to be recorded.
right.
There's ways to prove your side in this, and the point of what I'm saying
Essentially,
here is,
she's claiming I did not consent to it. Well, that's a factual claim. Burden of proof is on you to
yes.
prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But Patch wasn't the only one watching my page. Before all ties were finally cut, Hyper had also stalked my page. Don't forget, Hyper is the pedophile who has been outed, and
Whatever.
had talked to one of my friends that I have allegedly tried to start shit with them when I anonymously mentioned them, and I was told
Right.
so by my other friend, there we go. That was a dick move on my part and Hyper's, but I can't speak with him. I don't know who this is. I just know the other person is Suki. This is just the other friend they're talking about. Yeah, there was no additional context put in here. He's still a little bit upset that you haven't removed the NSFW. The N is in quote or brackets. I don't know what the fuck that means. It's like, is that like a person's thing? It's like you put person with S in there. It could be singular or plural, so it means it could be not or safe for work.
Right.
I'm assuming that's what it means. Okay.
I don't know.
And that you're making a bunch of role play stuff from what I can tell. But again, I can't speak for him. It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't bug me really, to be honest. I just find it weird to post that stuff when you're still young. It's like, holy shit. It's like you're not seeing the pattern of behavior here. It's like you're you're in the presence of people who have this moral standard that a child doing this kind of shit is not okay. It's like, how do you not acknowledge that? It's like, I get that you like doing artwork and role playing and shit, but it's like, if you value so much like making and keeping relationships online, there's a thing called compromise where you have to sacrifice things in order to get the thing you truly desire. And it just seems to me from the evidence here just so far that you haven't gone the lengths to accomplish this. You've just basically said, I care more about the role play and stuff, and friendships just seem to be like a temporary thing.
In relation to certain people with certain moral, I mean, there are friends she could make that share her moral views, and thus it wouldn't be an issue, right?
Yeah.
So, she's essentially rejecting this particular moral view, yes, and the people who would ascribe to it, because, the people who would ascribe to it to the extent that they would then cut off their relationship with her over it, right? So, yeah,
I don't
absolutely. Very
I
true.
don't get how the fuck she says I am RPing safely, as in like a question. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck kind of question is written that way? What the fuck?
But I guess she's doing it in the female kind of way, like, I'm RPing safely, like,
Oh, so playing the dumb blonde bitch, basically.
yeah, kind of. It's like, she knows, as far as she's concerned, she's playing safely, but she adds the question mark to be like, well, maybe I don't know something, maybe I'm just uninformed, or something like that. In other words, she's looking for the answer from somebody else and not herself. Chicks do it all the time, but anyways.
And how does he know that I have yet to remove it when I haven't unblocked him yet? You can literally log out of Twitter and just look at stuff.
look at stuff.
Yeah,
Just
you can literally
look at
do
the
that.
stuff.
I mean, they're not lying. It's like I do that shit all the time when dumbasses think that the block button is protection from me.
Right. Right.
Without an account, it's a trick everyone knows, and it's dumb. It's like I don't think so. And,
Yeah. Indeed.
that is dumb. And can I not roleplay with people where it is safe? It's like, you're in a public space, so, kind of no. Yes, no, maybe so. I think
it's like you might be safe, you might not, though.
I think he's just paranoid about people creeping on you. He still cares about you, from what I've seen. He's just really worried about people trying to guess.
Wait, who is they're referring to?
Hyper, I believe.
Oh, so Hyper's worried about this girl doing this, even though, I mean, is Hyper like this orbiter who wants to fuck her? Is that what
Oh,
this is?
okay. He says he just is really worried about people trying to be gross.
Okay. And this guy was never proven to be a predator, is that correct?
No, I believe Lucifer said that both him and Sly were proven pedophiles.
Okay, but do you know personally is
No,
what
I
I'm asking.
don't.
No, you don't. Okay.
And like I said before, I tried seeing if Patch had any insight on this when I looked their name up, and I only had one instance, and that was just in reference to be like, Danny, who is apparently another person that Leo had mentioned
Yeah.
when he was responding to Buttons' response to Lucifer's page,
Yeah.
is like, when I'm
Right.
done with Dan, which I'm assuming is Danny, I'm moving on to you. And then the other
Okay.
person was Hyper, and that was the
Uh,
instance where the screenshots of the other miners were posted that apparently liked the images that they
yeah.
were retweeting.
Okay. Hey, I gotta let you know. I gotta bail in 10 minutes. I gotta get to
Okay.
bed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
it's been
almost
2 hours. So
we're almost
yeah.
done with this
So
shit.
let's get this done. Yeah.
I think he's just paranoid, blah blah blah. I'm 16, of course I do. But yeah, he's just very worried about you. I can't imagine
Right.
why. And he's not
Yeah.
used to people saying, "I don't worry about me." Not even in a rude way, just in, "I simply don't need your help with anything. I'll be okay."
Right.
And for the real context behind the DM screenshots, the reason why it all started, because I was doing some fun experiments on my Siren roleplay account with the one like one kink. It's going back to full circle autism here, Sheldon.
I
It's
was
like,
I was doing some fun experiments on my Siren RP account. Sirens, you say? You really the sirens? You mean
the
the
seducers?
mythical, the seducers? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One like one king. And otherwise, it was all meant for fun and laughs.
It wasn't
Yeah,
meant to be
totally.
taken seriously.
Uh,
Uh,
I mean, maybe that's true. I don't know. Honestly, I can't really tell you.
but it has gotten to the
Uh,
point where I can't remotely have any fun on any of my accounts.
well, oh, you poor thing. You know, you don't have to listen to these people, right? You can just tell
Yeah,
them to fuck off and block them, right?
or
Yeah,
just find other people. I don't.
right.
Again, this
Yeah.
statement is extremely hyperbolic. Like the fact that that someone is sticking up for you is totally invalid. Which means that there are people that you can still hang out with and have fun with, and people who
Right,
still give a
right.
shit about you.
Exactly.
Uh, I'm always on the line where someone is always watching my page, watching what I do, and when there is a problem that isn't part of their business, they come storming in.
Well, stop. It's like she's bitching about as if she were in the public square saying these things. It's like,
It's like,
yeah, anyone can walk
why?
up to you and bitch to you in public, you idiot.
Well, it's like, Suki, why do you think this is happening? It's because you're giving them a justification.
Right. She's signaling things to the environment that others can see and will likely comment on if it piques their interest. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the reason why all the NSFW was restricted upon me, all these intentions were all for my fucking safety.
Okay.
Oh my god. You're fucking stupid.
Whatever.
Like, yeah, real thanks for trying to protect me, then also harassing me just because I defended myself.
I guess she must think in her mind that she's not in danger. There is no danger. She can handle herself, I guess, is for her perspective. So she's kind of mocking it in a way, like, it's for my fucking safety. You don't think I can take care of myself? You know, that kind of thing.
Well, again,
Which
obviously
she's
not.
yeah, like so.
Uh, Trying to protect
Real.
me, then also harassing. And before this, I was paranoid. I degraded myself. So it's like you were worse off, like before like this post, or like before Patch was part of your life. It's like you're saying before all this, I was worse off basically. Like I was paranoid. I degraded
Yeah,
myself.
yeah. Well, before that, even the paragraph. I'm just waiting for you to go back
Oh,
to it
okay.
on the stream
Oh,
here.
the one up top.
The I was paranoid, degraded myself. That post.
Yeah. Oh,
I just can't see it because it's scrolled down too much. Wait. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Real thanks for trying to protect me, and then she's trying to say like, okay, well, the thing is, you might be trying to protect me from this thing, but you're causing me negative emotions because you're not letting me do things I want to do, and that's why she says harassment. Um, well, you fail to protect me because now I'm feeling negative emotions. But the thing is, people aren't trying to protect you from negative emotion in general. They're trying to protect you from a particular kind of interaction
mm-hmm.
that can cause negative feelings. So,
Yeah,
uh,
basically.
total
But it's like
conflation.
this phrasing here. It's like, and before this, which means I'm assuming by this phrasing, Sheldon, before Patch was a part of Suki's life or was like getting involved, like
Right.
before the protection and shit. I was
Yeah.
paranoid. I degraded myself. So it just sounds like Suki's saying I was worse off before then. That's what it
Right.
sounds like to me. It's just poor wording.
Yeah.
I'd just
Right.
say.
Right.
But seeing on this thread how much people agreed that what Patch did was horrid, uh, and seeing how people agreed with one another made me realize that the real protection I needed was from you all. And it made me genuinely happy that I have people to stand by my side.
Okay. Well, when you say what do you mean from you all? All the people, like everybody, literally, or do you mean the people who are siding with Patch? Is that what you mean?
It's like this wording is so fucking contradictory.
Well, yeah,
It's
I
like I
know.
needed protection from everyone, but I'm so
But
happy
I'm
that you're
really,
all
but
here.
I'm
You're
happy
here.
that yeah. But all applies to the entire set, and part of that set are the people that you're saying you're happy to have stand by you. I mean, okay.
But if it weren't for Lucy making this call out, I wouldn't have expressed my feelings out. So Lucy, thank you so very much. I thank you for telling the people what I was going through. I can't express how thankful I am for you to do this for me, even if I shouldn't have done it myself.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I should have done it myself. Bullying and Tessa, blah blah blah. I've reported them before. I made this post, but hopefully with this, there shouldn't be harassment coming back at them. But maybe having their account suspended as punishment is acceptable. Although what they did is
Really interesting. Bullying and intimidation is not justifiable. Well, I'm sorry, but I think there's been instances in your life where you've used some kind of leverage you have against somebody to try to get them to do something, and that's essentially how you're using intimidation. So, and really, people do this all day, all the time to each other.
mm-hmm.
So by your standard, none of this should be happening, yet it is, and yet you're compliant with a ton of it.
Mm-hmm.
So your whole moral concept, or I'm sorry, your whole semantic conception of intimidation, bad, always bad, never intimidate. Yet by extension of you being a human being who has self-interest and will manipulate others to get your self-interest, sometimes by leveraging things against them, even if it's minor things like, oh, well, if you don't want to hang out with me today, then I'm not going to go to the movies with you next week. It's the exact same thing, dude. You engage in the same shit.
Pretty much.
These people annoy me. Holy shit.
I want to see the reasoning for their reaction and the way they handled the situation. It's like, you can do that. Like you
yeah,
didn't
you can
need
just
to do this
ask
to do
them.
that.
Yeah, you can just ask them.
I want them to see their wrongdoings instead of them seeing themselves as victorious.
You don't understand morality.
you don't understand what victorious means.
or that, yeah. Well, I guess
Again,
victorious in what sense exactly?
Again,
Like,
this account has me blocked, and I will not bother them.
okay, you're a cringe lord.
Okay.
Holy shit.
But I hope this call up gets seen by them, and they make a former apology. But
a former apology, not a formal one, but a
former apology. But forgiveness must be earned. I am not welcoming them with open arms again, as I had before. Nor do I have any intentions of forgiving them, as what they did was unforgivable. And then we got some extra posts here, just like people like giving their thoughts and shit. And now we have buttons. Oh boy. I knew Patch from Brony fucking revealed my mental illness on a live stream. Falsely accused me of accusing my ex of rape and a bunch of shit. They knew they'd fuck.
She did accuse him of rape.
Yeah, they did. It's like I didn't know.
Wow.
It's like who called the police on Anthony again?
She is such a fucking lying snake.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Knew they'd fuck up super bad sooner or later. Blackmailing a minor?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, that's low. See, even she makes the legal statement here.
It's interesting. So is it? Am I blackmailing a minor if sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. am I black? Like, let's say I have a kid,
Uh-huh.
and uh, look, blackmail, blackmail. If I tell my kid, look, son, if you don't clean your room, we're not going to go see the new Transformers movie.
Mm-hmm.
Am I blackmail? I'm blackmailing my kid by their standard, right? So regular parenting, we're using threats and using consequences. Um, that is blackmail to these people. That by their moral standard, by the what they're professing on the internet, the arguments they're making, they would have to agree that that is also blackmail and bad and shouldn't happen. So what? Parents shouldn't enforce consequences on their children, right? I mean, it's totally asinine, ridiculous, absolutely. I don't even know what to say. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'd say aside from the concept of money, like the concept of, or well, actually, I'd say language, money, and then consequences would be like the three most important lessons to teach a child when growing up. Is that like, there are consequences for your actions, or just not even that. There are always going to be actions that you make that you need to take in consideration to how people will react to those actions.
Right? Yeah,
Basically.
definitely.
And sometimes they can be good, sometimes they can be bad. And it's like pain is supposed to be a means for people to avoid doing that, to learn, essentially.
Yes, exactly.
Uh, I am so sorry. It's fine. I'm just glad. It's fine.
I'm
It's
so
fine.
sorry, sad face,
And
sad
it's like,
face.
and it's like, ah, it's fine.
It's fine. It's all good. Yeah,
I'm just glad.
I'm over it. You know, whatever.
I'm just glad people see what a shit person they are. Finally, I've sat in the BG for months trying to move on. Falsely accused me of being a pedo last month because I roleplay a ship with a 17-year-old, even if I explicitly said no ERP when they brought it up. I don't remember the details, but that shit was cringy as fuck.
Right.
It was like some fucking Alistair and Charlie roleplay shit. So this was basically my DMs with Lucifer. And I said I read the thread. I brought up to like there's
Oh,
a
you talked to this guy.
yeah, no, I
Interesting.
said that's what I told you
Interesting.
a
Okay,
while
let's
ago.
let's keep going. Yeah.
Uh, so there's the time difference, and then I asked like between that time period, like why didn't you reach out to Patch to like get direct evidence or get
Did he
their
stop
side?
talking to you? Wait. Oh, he does respond.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
he does respond. It's like,
Okay.
why would I need to
Okay.
reach out to Patches when my friend provided DMs of their conversation? I read the conversation and it looked pretty clear. There was harassment going on. It's like, I don't know. It could be possible that they're taking shit out of context. And it's like, it's like, can you provide it? Well, when you make a position, it's important to have both sides to obtain what is called context. California has laws. Do you deny that your friend has made NSFW sexual or suggestive art on their Twitter page?
Right.
And she makes the statement where it's like, did you not read the thread? I put out my piece there. And it's like, I did.
Right.
It was laughable, to put it most nicely. Your standard of evidence is terrible. Well, then I'm happy you enjoyed it. And I was like, first, you make the public self-admittance that you reported their account without the evidence to back it, without providing it later on. That's basically what I mean. It's like, but I did. I provided the screenshots of why I reported them. I said 6 minutes later. Keep in mind, friend, details are important, time being the most significant. And they're like, okay. And the next question, can you define what a kink is for me? And they're like, why? Because that is what your friend admitted to Patch, what their new experience is. It's like, what kind of
Right.
phrased
You're,
question
you're
is?
you're taking the angle of, look, this girl promised that she wouldn't do things, and she has engaged in the things she promised she wouldn't engage in. Because if his definition of kink includes something sexual, then that would necessarily mean it's part of the agreement, which is you will not post sexual things.
Well, and then
Right.
their question
So,
is, what kind of phrased question is that? And it's like the yes or no kind. Can you define this shit for me?
right.
Um, because please explain the context of that question. And I was like, it was the minor's new experience with people online. It's in their DMs with Patch. What the fuck do you mean context? You wrote the thread. Hello?
Right.
It's like, sorry, talking to my boyfriend. I was like, cool, I didn't need to know that. Um,
Oh, so he's a Gaylord. He's a homo.
no, no, no,
Disgusting.
no, no. She's a chick.
Oh, this is a chick.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sure she weighs
And she's
300.
like, "Do you want me to give you our backstory? Me and Suki's backstory?" I was like, "No, I don't. Honestly, like, no, not really. I want my questions answered, not some pointless attempt to pull at my heartstrings. It's like I don't need to know what your
Right,
relationship
exactly.
is." And it's like
Exactly.
I'm trying to answer it through this way because I can't really answer your question without it being twisted or misconstrued. I was like, okay, fair enough. In all respect, let me explain it. I was like,
Well,
I don't. Uh, define kink for me, please. And then it's like,
I'm
well,
sorry. I'm trying to answer it through this way because I can't really answer your question without being why. You can't just tell me. You can't just answer my question, right? I mean, you realize you can answer my question in a way that, as far as you're concerned, is accurate to the best of your ability, right? So that just sounds to me like a bullshit way to get out of answering the question.
well, then
But anyway.
Lucifer says, well, then you don't get an answer. Heart.
Well,
Uh,
okay, you're a cunt.
all right. Because I don't
Yeah.
need to tell you, and it's in my right as a Canadian to not explain myself. Is that true, Sheldon? Is there a law that says I don't need to explain shit to you, or is that just
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
it's it's like
Justin Trudeau, he wrote that. Yeah,
oh he
it's true.
did? Oh wow, that's
Yeah, yeah.
cool. I was
Oh
like
yeah. He walked up to the Canadian Constitution, busted out a Sharpie pen, and fucking scribbled it right on the cover.
I don't have to explain shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome then. I take everything back that I said about Canada. You guys are awesome. I
You're
thought
already trying to put me in a position that I'm guilty. Well, I'm putting you in a position of I'm trying to get you to look at the facts, right? Basically, I'm trying to get you to
mm-hmm.
understand how the other side is coming at it from, right? And to say that, this is essentially like she's saying you're gaslighting me, basically. Oh my God, you're making me question my interpretation of things, right? It's like, yeah, that's what happens when you have conversations with people and arguments about people about things, you fucking idiot.
Well, I mean that basically is what blackmailing is, pineapple. It's you have information and you use them to compel it to do that. And
Right. Yeah.
what Patch is using is her parents. Or second to that, you could say that the closest thing to an authority figure, because I'm assuming that Suki was in a call with Leo at one point. I'm sure like Sheldon can agree with me that it's like anytime there's been kids with Leo in there, it's like, you know, it goes from like no fuck you to yes sir, please sir, by the end
Well,
of it.
whatever.
Yeah.
What's Pineapple's point here?
Uh,
I'm not looking at the chat, so can
it's
you read
like
it?
it's just his point is it's like he's confused about like how and why this is blackmail, and I was like,
Well, okay, I'll explain it to him. It's blackmail in the sense that blackmail is when, for example, me and Hate here. If I were to say to Hate, look, I know that I said I was going to hang out with you for this event or whatever, but look, I've changed my mind, and Hate goes, well, look, Sheldon, if you don't hang out with me, then I don't fucking know. You're gonna call my parents and bitch to them about it. It's blackmail in the sense that you're hate is using something of value, something that I value, information not being exposed to people that I don't want to be exposed. He's using that against me, right?
it's a coercion
If
tactic.
he's saying, yeah, it's a coercion tactic. He's saying, if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to do a thing that I know you don't want me to do. That will have some negative effect on my reputation or how other people see me. That's really at the core of all blackmail,
Pretty
right? That's
much.
the problem with it. So the problem with this whole thing is that these people are right. It is a kind of blackmail, but it's the kind of blackmail that, at least for me personally, I wouldn't judge this as bad or wrong. I see it as the kind of blackmail where, if a bunch of kids are dicking around with somebody else's property or something of this nature, and the old man comes out and says, you better stop doing that, or else I'm gonna tell your parents about it. It's the same kind of thing to me. This kind of thing, I don't judge this morally as bad in the same way I would judge it if somebody was trying to blackmail somebody with money and threaten to harm their family or something, right? These are two different moral judgments I would make. The one moral judgment I would say, it's not a big fucking deal. It's really not that bad. What the fuck are you bitching about?
Well,
The other one I would say, yeah, that's bad. That should be prosecuted under the law. You
well,
know,
it's
we
like,
we should socially punish this behavior. In other words,
well, it's like I usually see it blackmail as a means for someone to force someone to perform something that is either illegal or immoral on someone's
right?
behest.
But the problem is a moral subjective,
I know,
right?
but then we could
And
just,
consequently, illegal. What is defined as illegal is ultimately subjective too.
I don't know, it's like,
So you know,
I'm gonna kill your parents if you don't kill this person for me.
right?
That's what,
Yeah, I would agree that's bad. That's immoral, right?
you could even say that something, it's like, you've taken bribes from someone, and now it's like ultimately I'm giving you money for a favor, and it's like, you know this shit was under the table shit, so it's like I'm calling it a favor. That's what I also consider as blackmail. Is like someone, there's proof that someone has engaged in an immoral act, and they're using it as a means to compel someone to do something, the same person that they've engaged in this act with, to again do something immoral or illegal.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
get it.
Whatever.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, I thought you said you didn't want to be twisted or misconstructed, and she says correct, but you're already trying to put me in a position that I am guilty because you are looking for it. So, is that an admits to guilt? Because she's like, I don't want to give you a definition, because if I give you a definition, then it proves my guilt.
Um,
Is she admitting that
her
I'm
guilt of what? Her guilt of misconstruing things?
well,
Like,
it's
like, 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 what is the guilt here she thinks that you're trying to get her to admit to? A wrongdoing, an incorrectness of some sort. It seems to me you haven't even posited this yet. You're just questioning her.
yeah, I
Um,
know.
so she's really leaping to this assumption that you're trying to get her to admit some fault, when in reality you're really just exploring the landscape, and you're trying to see who's right and who's wrong, who's actually giving me the accurate facts and who's not, and who's
Exactly.
making best logical arguments, not in terms of the moral argument, but in terms of the time and place and how everything lines up and all these kind of things, which in of in of themselves dictate what your moral argument will be in the end result. So yeah, she's totally leaping here, assuming what your intentions, basically pulling a Dr. Freud and psychoanalyzing you.
So I ask, how does denying, answering my questions because I don't want to hear about your pointless backstory make you look good? You've been dodging my questions. How hard is it to define kink? Is it that hard for you to answer? It's like, it's not dodging. I wanted to have you see that what you're trying to paint me as is not true to the most of your
You
wishes.
don't know what he's trying to paint you as. You
Exactly.
have no idea, right? Can you read his mind? Are you like, do you have like your fucking USB cable hooked up to your brain, attached to his brain, and you're just reading all of his motivations? I mean, we see this constantly on the internet, this psychologizing again, this assuming intention.
Well, it's
You
like,
know,
and then they go on to be like, I asked him, "Do you want my age?" And I said, "Do you think I'm baiting you here, sir?" And it's like, I don't, because it's none of my business. I don't think so. And I said, I'm 23. I'm an adult.
right.
And I am her in real life. I'm 24. And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that phrasing? And I was like, I said, boom, there's your safe pass, because there's like, we're both consenting
And I
adults.
am her in real life.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
I'm not her, like a girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It's like,
Yeah.
I know my rights, dear. And I was like, what? You're an adult pretending to be a minor? I thought it was like, wait, are you saying that you are Suki, but you're
Oh,
also
okay. Yeah.
Lucifer? And I was like,
I,
what the fuck
I
is
could
that
see I
phrasing?
could see that. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, but you're two different people IRL, right? And then she's like, huh? You mean this persona? I was like, you said, and I am her in real life.
This person is retarded. Holy fuck.
You phrased it as stating your gender,
Jesus.
like, you phrased it as stating your gender. I thought you were.
This is an important. This should be a lesson to people.
Yeah.
People who are stupid like this, who have a hard time just engaging in accurate and honest, and I mean honest in the sense of really understanding the truth of things, right? Really understanding that you can't just assume people's intentions. You actually can't know them. These kind of people who don't have the knowledge to engage in these kind of arguments, you should not trust their call out posts, right? You should go in and verify all of it. Don't just believe what they're telling you, because as we're demonstrating right now, this person is not connected to reality in these ways. They have a lack of understanding about, how to make a good point, how to make a point under the standard of real events that have occurred, and how to eliminate the fallacies and all these things regarding their arguments. And this person is not attached to reality on the same level we are. We're older, and how old are you? 23?
Yeah, 23.
We're older. Well, we're also men, and we're probably smarter than this person. So when you're looking at these kind of call out posts, just find somebody or you believe at least is somewhat intelligent and has a good understanding of things like how humans operate and how arguments are formed and things of this nature, and really get them to look over it to make sure, because we're seeing the errors here. We've seen plenty of errors. We've seen plenty of misunderstandings, terrible argumentation, contradictions. The claims this person are making, they're ultimately, it's hard for me to say that though at the same time, because it's moral and it's subjective. I think it's wrong what Patch did, because you shouldn't call out a 16-year-old and say, I'm going to call your parents. To me, that's wrong. Well, I can't disprove this. I can't say that it's that she's wrong for being that way in any true sense. It's just that I can really only appeal to other people's moral positions. But just in general, these kind of idiots who, when they're contradicting themselves in this way, and they don't understand intentions, and they're probably not the best person to be listening to when it comes to call out posts and shit. But whatever, that's just my opinion.
So I tried to get her on Discord, and she wasn't up for it. And I was like, it's too much. It's like, is it too much for you to like just make a temporary alt? And she's like, I'm too lazy. And then I'm like, fuck it, I'll listen to your story. It means I get my answers.
Right.
So it's like Suki and I are like little sister. Is like my little sister to me. Her and I bonded through the years, and we stuck up for one another. Oh my god. To answer your question,
why are you hanging out with 16-year-olds?
I know. To answer
right?
your
Like,
question,
just cringe. Just like,
I know. No, I like barfed whatever the shit was like.
Yeah.
God damn.
Basically.
To answer your question, I'll make this perfectly clear. I don't talk about these kinks with Suki. Anything weird or gross. I know what
I didn't
kinks
say
are.
you did.
I never. I know.
Right. Yeah.
I know.
He must be thinking about. He must think I'm gross or engaging with kinks with her in some way. No. Why don't you interpret what I say instead of jumping? But anyway.
Yeah, I know what kinks are. I just don't want to explain it because I'm lazy, and I know Suki does not and won't do ERPs with adults ever. Suki is a responsible person, more than me, if I must admit. In a sense, her temperament is much better than mine. Again, I trust that Suki won't ever do ERP that involve kinks or weird stuff like that, because she is afraid of those things. She also knows the risk, and she is.
Oh, trust me, I'm sure this 16-year-old has her own. I'm sure this 16-year-old also has her own strange sexual preferences.
Oh,
and,
probably. We all have
to
them.
say she's scared of kinks in general, well, I doubt everybody has some weird sort of thing on the border, of normalcy. So,
Well, in comparison
that's
to other
ridiculous.
ones, it's like in comparison to other ones, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's like BDSM it looks like a huge fucking turn off to me. It's like
Yeah, same.
this shit is fucking
Absolutely.
weird. It's like also getting like pissed on. It's like what the fuck.
Although I kind of like pulling chicks' hair. That's kind of hot, you know?
Yeah. She also
Yeah.
knows the risks and she is careful of what she posts. It's very shocking to her that her pictures for roleplay are being criminalized for some cleavage. And then
Uh,
I said, yeah, I saw mention of that. Like, how much are we talking here? Exposed, covered? Why would that be included to begin with? Look, it's boob kissing boob here. It's nothing to worry about. A girl having cleavage. It's nothing to be worried about. Okay, was this private, public? I'm assuming this was a drawing first off and not something IRL. This was public. Suki doesn't do drawings in DMs. I was like, okay, is it still up? I would assume so, but let me check. Maybe I can fetch the picture for you too. No promises. I'd prefer the link if possible. Why not just the pic? Because it was used in a roleplay. I'd like to see its context before I make a judgment here. I mean, why? Throughout this conversation, you've already made your judgment from the tone of your words. Okay. Well, I'm sorry if my implied tone was judgmental. My only judgment made is your bad standard of evidence, which we'll get into later. I don't see what the problem here is. You stated that you're confident in your friend's decisions. And then it just sent me the one kink, one like thing shit, Sheldon. That was it.
yeah.
They never sent me the picture. I like to make a correction. This is the picture that started this thing with the kink stuff. So scratch the cleavage part. And I was like, you're the one who, well, you were the one who
What's the
said it.
picture?
I don't know. She never sent me the picture. She just
Oh.
said that the one kink, one like picture thing was what started this. So scratch the cleavage part, but please do explain how my evidence is not the best. I'm open to input. I said your statement of harassment would imply that there's multiple instances where Patches hounded Suki for her undesirable
Right.
behavior online.
Right.
Uh, this conversation begins with her accepting Patches' DM request, which means this is the beginning of their DMs on Twitter. Do you have evidence of those previous instances or the nature of context of those? Ask Patches. They would have these DMs. I said the burden of proof was on you, my friend. But you are also speaking for Patches, no? Because Shiloh can't talk to me or bitch to me. I do, but
Well, ask Patches. They would have the DMs. Well, you. Why don't you have them? Why don't you have the evidence?
yeah, exactly.
Right.
I do,
Are
but
you? Oh my God.
I said I do, but I'm speaking to the person making those accusations of harassment. I see one instance of heated discussion between an adult and a minor with less than desirable tendencies and justifications. And then they sent me cringe. Yes, I am an adult. Okay. And Shiloh's first call out post was deleted, so Shiloh deleted that evidence. Evidence of harassment? It's like, yes. Again, Patches has the DM of when she DM'd Suki to the last time. You mean the
This person
Zoophile
doesn't
police?
understand that. Look, why should anybody believe you
Yeah.
in public when you say things and can't back it up? That's the point,
Yeah.
you idiot.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and then and I asked, is this in reference to when she made the Zoophile post? And she's like, yes. Yes, they didn't do that. The admins
Uh,
did. They admitted that the whole situation was a huge mistake. Well, there you go. So you admit you're an idiot. Nope.
right.
Okay, but you just did. Nuh-uh. It was a mistake for belief. Your thread had a shred of credible legitimacy in the first place. That's what they're basically admitting to. That they should have looked at this better, and that the evidence was shit. I'm asking you to produce evidence that there have been multiple instances where Patches bothered and hindered this minor's ability to socialize to the point of non-existence as Suki claims. You need to produce the evidence that there have been multiple instances of this being the case. And she's like, And I said, shit, now I'm hungry because she's posting disgusting food shit. Something about Doritos. Um,
She's really taking this interaction
yeah,
very seriously,
yeah, no, you're
right?
not. Um,
Yeah.
with you considering how well that went the other person, hang on.
Which is
She's
fine, by the way. I'm
she
not I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah, no. I said, nah, I don't need to share my sister's mental health with you considering how well that went with another person. Make sure to put that Cool Ranch into your Doritos. And I said, I don't have Doritos. I have Tostitos. Um, I'm not asking you to share her mental health. I'm asking you to produce proof that this is happening multiple times and prove that its content was to be malicious. And she says, nah. And I was like, okay, if you change your mind, you know where to find me.
Right. Right.
And then now we're gonna get to the final thing, Sheldon, and you can fuck off.
All right.
Okay. So this is the post I was telling you about at the beginning, where Patch says like she was responding to someone, and either their account got suspended or deleted because I don't know who they were responding to. So Patch makes this statement about Suki that she defends her NSFW engagement with this. She does not seem to care that she is making herself open to sexual predators or that she is risking her safety to behave this way.
Right.
Um, I
And let's make this clear. She is doing that. And the reason she is because she is posting things of a sexual nature
oh
on a
sorry.
public platform that does signal to other people in the population, including males who might have sexual interest in her, even if she's 16, that this girl is interested in sexual things. Thus, she's a potential target for sexual interaction.
Pretty
Right?
much. I made a
Yes.
mistake. This was the 11th of November, not December.
Okay.
But it does. It
Sure.
does. I'm pretty sure it gets into December at some point. And basically, Patch says, "Do not harass Suki by any means. She is a child, a stupid child, but a child." And then Suki's like, "Excuse me, what?" And see, and then it like, this is the end of it. Like the end of it it just starts and then it stops at December 29th of 2019. So it comes back like over a month later,
Right.
unless I missed
Right.
something.
Well,
Which
that's strange. That's very strange.
I could go back maybe later if I missed something. I'll address it in the next stream.
Yeah.
Excuse me, what? Ah, wonderful. I can tell you to your face that you're not only a moron but a criminal. Distribution of erotica to anyone under the age of 18 is a federal crime. You do know that, right? I don't send porn to other minors if that's what you're.
You do by posting it
Yeah.
publicly on Twitter. Right.
And
Exactly.
And then again, I don't know if this was the same account that Patch was responding to, but it's unavailable. That's retweeting. That's a different scenario. And please send them to me. Not really. By retweeting it, you are giving the minors that follow you direct access to pornography. You're also turning every artist you retweet from federal criminals as well. Um,
Yeah.
and if they couldn't come up to me and tell me to stop, instead they face themselves in a different angle, I want to send screenshots of me sending porn, not retweeting. You will get no such thing, but you'll
Well,
because
a
I mean,
retweet is a send,
yeah, it's a
right?
send, but it's
It's a
like,
send signal.
well,
It's
it's
like I see a thing and I'm going to take that thing and I'm going to copy it to the people I follow.
no,
That is a sending action,
I'm not
right?
saying this is Suki's intention, but it's like what's happening here is like Patch is being baited into a scenario where it's like you have to send proof that this minor sent pornography to this minor
Right.
on a public space. And it's like I'm not gonna do that because that's stupid, and I'm not even gonna DM it to you. Like you can go through your own thread and find that yourself. Like Jesus, um,
Well,
Poe would.
they could say, well, you haven't proved it yet. So the burden of proof is on you. You're saying I did it. So maybe Pat should have had that.
Well, no, I'm saying the problem is if Patch did that, they would have done the same thing that they're accusing Suki of doing.
Oh, I see. Uh, well, I would say fuck it and I just do it. I do it for the sake of proving to this kid you're wrong and anyone else looking is wrong. And I would clarify that this is only for the point of proving it to this person and not to do that. It's kind of like you have to take a hit, but the hit is worth it because it's going to make you look better in the context of the argument. So I
I
would do that.
guess,
But
but then
anyway,
it's like after the fact, it's like, you know,
well, I
how
wouldn't I wouldn't call it hypocrisy exactly either. That's not really fair. So
it's.
you know.
I mean, I don't know. I think it would
Ooh,
even.
you're a little like, ooh, I wouldn't do that. Oh, I don't
Well, it's
know.
like even if Patch did that, Sheldon, do you think that
uh,
the outcome would have been any different?
maybe not, but somebody like me would have looked at it and went, "Fucking right, I'm on her side."
I guess so. You can feel however you want. It's just that if that was the case, and that like nothing changed, despite the fact that Patch like presented evidence and by extension,
Yeah,
to the
but hey,
minor
why should
directly.
anyone believe Patch by your own standards here? Why should they believe her? She can't post the evidence.
Well, it's like she can't post it in like a public space.
I guess Patch could say go to her account. Well, okay, so you're saying DM it.
She could DM it to one of us. I mean,
Oh,
my
and then
only
we could, yeah, okay.
my only
Okay.
defense would be
I see.
my
Well,
only
that could work.
my only contradiction would be you could have censored it. That's it. That's all I can think
Oh,
of.
yeah, well, I guess. But then if you censor it, somebody can say, well, is it really that person? Or,
Yeah,
well, I
I
guess you
know.
censor, well, you censor the porn maybe, and then
Yeah,
that's
you
right.
censor the sexual shit. It's like, how would they?
Well, even if it's just cleavage, I don't think you're gonna get in trouble by this image, So,
I got you.
in other words, I don't think this will be enforced in terms of law enforcement. It's rather vanilla, so
How would they
probably not.
feel knowing their child is sexting a complete stranger? A definite like pathos appeal there,
Yeah.
appeal to authority, whatnot. Every adult you ERP with is a sex offender now. Uh,
Wait, what? How is she getting there?
she's saying that,
Oh, because she's a minor.
yeah. I mean, I,
Well, you're
I
only a
guess so.
sex offender. Well,
You
what does
get
she mean?
caught, like
Well, right. You have to be recognized by the state
state as a
to
sex
be a
offender.
sexual offender. Yeah. Or she means it like, well, you did the action. I don't care if the state recognizes it, right? Which I guess, okay.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
It could be brought up on charges on sexual offense.
Right,
Sure.
right.
Do you understand that? Do you comprehend the danger you are putting yourself and everyone you care about in? Prison time, permanent registration as a sex offender, losing the right to vote. Good shit like that. Well, since you claimed that you have screenshots and not provided any, you can't prove someone is guilty without it. And why would I not get any? It comes to show that someone is allegedly accusing me for such purpose. Now, this is when we get to the real juicy part here, Sheldon.
Okay.
Don't mean to pop in here and disturb, but do you know how old Lucifer Minaj is? Because if they are 18 or older, you could get in trouble, as well as any of your adult followers. Who is Lucifer? Lucifer is the one who made Thread.
Right. Right.
Less than a month later. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. My sister,
Pretty
yes, I do know how old they are, but I never once had sexual role play with them. And then Patch says, I don't believe you. I never had. We barely RP with each other. And then Leo says, instead of arguing that semantic, I have a better question. Suki, do you ERP with adults? Simple yes or no. And he never got a reply on that.
Wow. Interesting.
But yeah, that's it. So, Sheldon,
Wow.
what are your
Yeah.
final thoughts?
Look, the whole thing is rather ridiculous. I think that I think Patch is too much of a Puritan. I don't really care. Look, I'm okay with. I'm an extreme right winger and I'm a libertarian. Okay, so my threshold for when should we start policing 16-year-olds' activities on the internet, this kind of thing where they're just kind of talking about sex, I'm not for policing it. I think they should be able to do that.
How about this? We
Um,
don't police the minors. We police the people who are advocating that children should do whatever the fuck they want online, sexual or not.
yeah, to it. Well, whatever they want. If they literally mean anything, then sure. I mean, uh, yeah. Obviously, I would shit on somebody who says, kids should be able to just ERP in public, on Twitter or something. I don't agree with that. I think, and I don't even. It's not that I disagree with it on grounds of potential danger. I disagree with it really on this is disgusting and inappropriate. I have a very Christian sort of value system here. I don't think you should be expressing that in public. I don't think gay people should be walking the streets in banana hammocks during their parades. And I don't think any of this stuff is appropriate, and we should not allow it. That's my opinion.
I gotcha.
But from other people's moral perspectives, look, who would I ultimately side with? If you put a gun in my head, do I side with Patch or do I side with these other people? Given the entire thing, I'm gonna have to side with the other people. I think that Patch is just going way too far here. you're just overblowing the entire thing. Okay. What's your risk assessment? I can say the same thing to Patch. I said to the Zoophile police. You're worried about your reputation. This kink post, what's the probability of danger, Patch? What have you calculated? Is it 0.1%? You're not willing, to patch the 0.1% is not worth risking. And to me, and I'm just saying if that was hypothetically the amount, let's even say it's 10%. The 10% is not worth risking. To me, I'm gonna to me a 16-year-old is quite intelligent and quite mature, and I kind of see them more as a functional adult than Patch does. I think 16-year-olds are extremely close to adulthood. I think that usually most of the time they're actually quite they're quite intelligent, and they're quite perceptive, and they're quite aware of many things in the world. Alternatively, I know many 20-year-olds who are completely stupid and aren't those things. But I would say Patch doesn't give these kids enough credit. I think Patch is really concerned about some negative feelings they might feel or whatever, or a bad experience they might have, that I question the validity of the danger of, that I question the validity of how much this could ruin their lives in the future. I think it's all ridiculous. I think it's not backed up by good evidence. And I think that really she's a woman ultimately, and she's very concerned about these things. She's very concerned about protecting and compassion. And I'm not a woman, I'm a man. And I'm interested in, and I don't worry about these things. I want people to do bad things and learn from it. I want them to reap the consequences of their actions. She wants to protect them from it. And I think at this level, this sort of interaction with the kink post, I think it's nothing. And I think if a bad thing were to happen, that's okay. I accept it. I'm all right with that happening. And maybe that girl will actually learn from that experience instead of this coddling from Patch. That's what I think.
Well, it's just yeah, no, I get what you're saying, Sheldon. My argument in that would be, well, it seems that Patch is motivated by the fact that this thing has already happened, like,
Wow.
and it's obvious that like she hasn't learned from this, and it's like, okay, now I need to take more direct measures in this. That's my impression.
Sure. And look, why hasn't she learned? Maybe because it wasn't that bad for her. Maybe because it wasn't that horrible, right? And she's willing to risk it again. Has anyone considered this idea? Has anybody considered that maybe she's not that worried about it and it's not a big deal to her? Maybe that, and is that not valid? Is her subjective view not valid to Patch? Right? I mean, I could go on and on. Look, my point here is I have a line, and just for me, this doesn't meet that line of intervention of we should really be using social pressure to stop this person in this particular instance. Look, if she's doing lewd RPs with older men, and if adults, and if she's exchanging pornography with them, look, I have an issue with this. This needs to stop immediately, no question. But
Obviously.
this kind of stuff. Look, I think she's a Puritan. I think she's just kind of a what did I call Woot Master? Just as hysteria in a sense. It's
He's
just,
delusional.
in fact, it's the kind of behavior that contributes to the weakening of each new generation. This over coddling, this over protection. Really, this is not making stronger people. This is not making more independent, capable human beings. It's in fact doing the opposite, and it's contributing to the collapse of the West and this society currently as we speak. This postmodern, really, neoliberal, very, very feminized, very womanized kind of decree of how ones ought to act, between each other. I think it's goofy. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna take off.
Yeah.
So it was
One
it was nice
last one
talking.
last thing before you go, because I'm gonna pull Leo into the call now. We're getting into the Zoophile
Sure.
stuff. If I refresh the YouTube live stream page, will that stop?
Yeah.
Will that stop the stream? Because I just want to refresh it to refresh the chat.
I don't think it will. I think I've done that before and it didn't do that.
Okay, I'll just try it. If not, we'll just continue with part two, and I'll pull Leo in here. So
Sure.
So I appreciate you coming on, Sheldon. We'll I
Anytime,
promise we'll get to
anytime.
that Vita shit like next week. We'll do that shit.
Sure, it's all good. Whenever you want to get to it, we can get to it.
Yeah. Okay.
All
Awesome.
right, man. Well, take care and yeah, bye, Leo. I know you maybe you're listening, so see you later, guys.
See ya.
I just have to open Discord and actually leave, so let me leave awkwardly, very slowly.
uh. Okay. So we're gonna move on to that a bit. We're getting to the Zoophile police stuff. Just allow me a moment because I need to resend the link for the stream chat because it is still fucked even though I refreshed it. I'm so relieved that that's not the case. Here we go. Hmm. What?
Are you here, Heat?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
I just wanted to say one last thing.
Yeah, no.
I know. I have a solution to all this.
Oh, cool.
You know how I would fix this if I was a parent? You don't get to go on the fucking internet. You don't get Twitter.
Yeah,
Okay?
pretty
You don't
much.
get a fucking Twitter. Because these kids, what they're doing with their sexual explorations between each other, they would normally have to do this in peer groups face to face, right? They
Pretty
could never
much.
do it remotely. And that's really the issue here. The issue isn't that they're exploring sexuality. The issue is that they're doing it on a public platform where anyone can kind of show up and interject or, manipulate them in some way to get what they want. The solution is to just don't let your kids on the internet. All right, I'm out. Goodbye.
Pretty much. Amen. It's like it's a bit like it's a bit of an extremist response, but I get where it comes from. It's like the internet is a privilege. It should be used wisely and responsibly, and it's just the point is it's a place where people can publicly communicate with people, whether it's for good or for bad reasons.
Correct.
Yeah,
Pussies.
pretty much.
All right, let me go ahead and get your chat open here so I can address people if they're dumb enough to run their mouths at me. Because I do love those people. You know,
I love those people too. It's unfortunate that this most of the time I'm more engaged with just like the more menagerie of just these discussions about morality and shit like that, Leo.
I mean, we had this pineapple person in the chat, and then they just pushed out the minute I showed up. I mean, I'm offended. I'm hurt.
Yeah. I did want to address a couple things that Pineapple had said in the chat. Now I just got it opened up. I have no idea what the hell was going on with my internet. Like I had like 3 bars up and all that.
The heck.
So yeah, I know I don't get it. The stream is telling me it's like summing up with my bitrate. That's why it's happening, Leo. I don't know. It never happened when I did it last time, and then like for some reason my computer got wiped, and all like my programs were deleted, so I had to install them all. So I was like, did I make any like custom settings on OBS? I don't know.
Oh, I have no idea.
But so yeah, here's a good question, Leo. From Pineapple, very intellectual question. So young adults are not allowed to hang out with 15 to 17-year-olds. I don't know what he means by like young adults. Are we talking like 18 plus? I guess so. I'll make sure to tell my 16 to 17-year-old cousins I can't talk to them anymore. It's like
False
no,
equivalence.
no, we're not saying that. We're first of all we're saying that it's like minors should not engage themselves in sexual situations with adults.
Correct. Also, that's a false equivalence combined with, well, it's kind of a straw man of what you're trying to say here, in all honesty. This person's not actually representing your argument well. They're just trying to do a little clapback and makes them feel better. Just the weakest of people.
And here's another beautiful one. Patches doesn't know shit about law.
Well, I don't know about that because it varies from state to state. It all depends on what state it happened in.
Well, it's
That's
like
the tricky thing about law.
I always just thought that, just like when it came to cases on the internet, it's like, it was originally like, Leo, when we started doing this pedo shit. I don't I don't know what the source was from, but they said that if one person from a certain country has an age of consent, and then the country that they're talking with someone from a different country and they have a different age of consent, if one person is a minor in their own country and they're talking to someone who is not a minor in their country, then that's not right. That's like the legal classification that I got. But now it's just evolved to a simple, no, it's 18 plus every situation. Anything besides that is a no-go.
No, I mean, there might be an international standard that I'm not too knowledgeable about. That's where it gets dicey, is in between international lines.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure whenever Anthony was stating, like, if it crossed the state lines, then it's always a hard 18, and I'm pretty sure that's only supposed to refer to the states. If that's
Maybe.
the
Also,
case.
we have Patch in the chat if you want to bring Patch in to address Pineapple's nonsense.
Yeah, no, I don't mind if Patch wants to come on. I'll add them to the call.
Hi,
Hello?
I guess.
Hello.
Are you guys still streaming?
Yeah, we're
Yes.
still streaming. We're actually going to transition to the second part of the stream. There was supposed to be 3, but now it's 2. So now we're moving on to the Zoophile police. But before we do, Patch, do you want to make any comments about what we've said, about what the chat has said?
I do want to make a couple comments from what I've seen. Number one, I was brought in on the Suki thing, that whole situation. I was asked by people who Suki was making death threats towards to intervene because they believed that she was distributing porn to minors.
Mm-hmm.
I was brought in by someone else. I wasn't monitoring anyone. And when I found out about the fucking kink thread that she did, the second time that she started posting an SFW, I wasn't monitoring. I was told it had happened by someone else, and that's why I stepped in. I didn't monitor any kids. I'm not fucking stalking anybody. I only intervened because I was brought in on it. And second of all, no, not all NSFW artists are criminals.
No.
Just underage ones that are distributing pornography to other underage individuals. Because again, the law is dumb, but it also clearly states that distribution of pornography to minors directly is illegal. It's a violation of obscenity law.
Yeah, I mean, you got crooked cops, honest thieves. It's just like, whatever your morals are. It's like, if you've broken the law, you're a criminal, and whether the law finds out about it or not, it doesn't change the fact that you've broken the law.
I just thought I would clarify that. And also, Pineapple, I'm not a fucking girl.
They, them.
I'm non-binary and intersex. My pronouns are they, them. It'd be nice if, people gave me the basic common courtesy of that.
I just love how my stream status bounces from, we've detected bad bitrate quality, to excellent health. I'm like, make up your fucking mind.
You know what's interesting today? That I got in a conversation with Balana today.
Mm-hmm.
She admitted to me that the accusations of blackmail are false.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that.
So even they admit I haven't done anything wrong. Now that they've actually investigated the claims, I'd like to know when those posts are being taken down.
Apparently they were.
I still
can
saw them today.
I can check right now. I have them
They
linked in
apparently
the
were a
Google
couple
Doc.
hours ago. This was brought to my attention via the Eagle fan guy that,
Mhm.
like, you know,
Chris,
Yeah.
the one who's very fond of my content.
yes. Apparently the thread was taken down. Let me go ahead and find the link here.
You know, I have the link. I'm opening it now. Yeah, no, it's still up.
Really? Because the one I'm getting is gone.
Here, I'll send you what I have. Or which one? I
Oh.
said, the one that
I'm talking
says
about the
all
official
right.
one.
Yeah, the all right people. We all know that Shiloh had had a rep when they came in here.
No, I got the one that specifically was accusing them of the harassment.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, no, it's down because it
The
says that
post
the
linking
tweets
to my
aren't loaded.
account is still up though too. The fucking
Well, no,
Cloudflare
I just scrolled down and it said tweets aren't loading right now, which means that it was taken down, Leo. The one
Yeah.
I'm looking at least.
It'd be nice if they addressed that they took it down because the accusations were proven wrong. I'd really appreciate that, but honestly, I could care less either way. I'm just fucking tired of this at this point.
I got you.
I am convinced that Pineapple is peace and quiet on Twitter because they retweeted saying, "Don't bother with the stream, you guys. They're just making fun of Aruzu and Lucifer rather than taking matters seriously. Just pure slander and nonsense. If anything, this is making Patch look worse." I don't know, Patch. Did I make you look worse?
I haven't been watching the stream. I've been
Oh.
out running errands. I just came in now.
Yeah. Pineapple, why don't you click there's a link that I put in the description of the stream and you can hit that and then add me on Discord and you can hop in the call and you can give us all a piece of your mind.
I don't want that. I want this to be over. I want people to stop fucking accusing me of child abuse when it was proven I hadn't done anything wrong. Maybe I was a little too hard on the kid, but I'm pretty sure that telling a child if you don't stop trying to cyberfuck adults, I'm gonna call your mother, isn't a crime.
Nope.
Anyway, I got shit to do, so I'm gonna go. Thanks for reaching out to me for a comment.
Alright, no, that's good. Take care, Patch.
Alright, good luck with your stream, dude.
Alright. So, Leo, before we begin, is there any other additional comments you'd like to make in the chat?
In the chat itself, let's see here. Give me a second here. Almost done. Come on. A little bit more. How many can I do? There we go. All right.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna move on to the second phase of this, which was, you know, the Zoophile Police's response to this. So before we begin with that, Leo, is there any comments you'd like to make about the situation? I wasn't there at the beginning. I literally came into that call like last minute. So
what I would like to say is that we had one mod from Zoophile Police in the call during the entirety of it. That person, I think they did the best they could. No beef with that person. That was Quinn, I think her name is.
yes.
But Belana's a moron. An egotistical, narcissistic moron that does not know how to handle anything. Couldn't pour water out of a boot if instructions were on the heel.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I definitely think that is it a he, she?
She.
I think she needs to be replaced by someone a bit more competent. In fact, I would like to go so far at some point to like get into a call with the rest of the admins and ask them questions about how they do procedure, both between like valuing evidence and then like making decisions, you know, like voting and whatnot. And then like this obviously seems like just in the case with Patch, there was like no patience, no communication or coordination that was done properly, and it could have been avoided had they just like done that, exercise some patience, better communication. You know, it's not like they had a gun to their head with this. I don't know. Am I wrong to say that?
No, you're completely right. They handled this. The only way they could have handled this more wrong is if they had more followers.
Hmm. All right. So, for nobody who's in the know, who doesn't know who the Zoophile Police is, like I said before, at the end of the stream, I will put all the links in the description. I had put some of them before, and obviously, like, some of them that are already in there that shouldn't have been, like Lily's video. Because, I guess we're not going to react to that now. So this is the Zoophile Police's Twitter. Again, I'm going to link it. As you can see, like, they have a significant following, which means they have a great pull and sway on things. So, to answer the question, what is the Zoophile Police? Also, their Discord will be linked in there as well. What is the Zoophile Police? I think, Patch, when they were an admin, put it quite nicely. It's we go after pro-contact maps, zoos, active sexual abusers, CSEM and bestiality distributors, active necros, and those who support active necrophilia and predators. Please only bring us these people. And that's a pretty good plot synopsis of things on how things, on basically what the type of people they go after.
I agree.
The thing to take of note here is the call sign, the Purple Heart. That was Patch's call sign when they were an admin in there. Obviously, the other ones are there, have their own. I don't remember what all of them are. I just know that at the bottom, when Zoophile Police were making their comment, they put the cross sword, so I'm assuming that was Bologna. I was told by somebody, I think it was maybe Anthony, that was Bologna's call sign.
That's Bologna, because Bologna has a obsession with Roman ideology, apparently, or Roman iconography, and talks about Dei Victus and a lot. It's a role player, some dumb kid role player.
Honestly, it's just like, I think a better point of distinguishment would have been like, if this is like an agreed upon thing, like there wouldn't be a call sign in this. It's like, it's no one individually like wrote this post. It was like approved. It's like, I think one of the criticisms that Patch had early on was that they'd posted something and they didn't go through someone about it. I don't remember what the subject was. I believe that happened at one point, and obviously, that was taken care of easily. It was just a simple misunderstanding. So the statement made by the Zoophile Police was, well, we already know Shiloh, which is Patch, had a rep when they did come here. What we didn't know is that they had a rep because they are an abuser who blackmails of-age minors. What?
Yeah, again,
Of age
no evidence.
No,
evidence.
No. It
Nothing.
says of-age minors.
Of age minors, yes.
It's like a
You
double
bully
negative
of age
there.
minors. Stupid. And these are the people that you're supposed to be able to trust when it comes to predators and dealing with them, and they can't even get a phrase right.
It pisses
Absolutely
me off.
laughable. Completely ridiculous.
It pisses me off sometimes, Leo, when I like write those incredibly long threads, and then I proof them so many times, and then it's like 8 or 6 times, and I'm just going like, I'm going way too far on this, and then I post it, and I'm like, oh shit, I just noticed a mistake I made. Delete the whole thread. All of us go. So no, they're not a pedophile, but we made threats to minors that were of age.
Good God.
So it's like when you put abuser and blackmailing or just any indication of just like negativity that an adult has enacted against someone who is not of age, like it's immediately people assume pedophile. And when they say it's not pedophile, it's like predator or sexual predator or something. Because people often confuse this terminology that pedophile or pedophilia is like a mental condition, not like some legal terminology.
Well, again,
it's just some internet slang, essentially.
Yeah. And again, on top of all this, no evidence is actually given. The thread they link to doesn't actually prove either of those things.
Yeah.
Just Bellana's a moron. I think there was some other reason And I don't buy the reason they told Patch. I'm sorry, I don't. Balana's already proven themselves to be a liar.
Mhm.
I have no reason to believe what they're saying. I think there's another reason that they're not talking about, and I'm going to be covering all of this on a video either released tomorrow night or on Sunday morning, where I'm going to burn this all to the ground.
Okay. I have some stuff too that was given to me by Coyote. Is that cool if I cover it? I think
Go for it.
okay. I just want to let you know ahead of time. We're interacting with others of age minors. Again, one's personal information in order to, like, I get it, to message loved ones, which means to Patch to get a hold of their parents, so which means that to a certain extent they would, like, someone would have to get access to the private information, correct, Leo?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it would be impossible to get it publicly. I haven't attempted to try to do it, because that's not where my mind was at, honestly. So sure, I'll let that stand as is. So going down, due to these discoveries, Shiloh will no longer be working with us. Again, I don't know why they have to call Patch out by name. They could just say, we're firing one of our mods.
Or
pending,
they could just
pending an
not
investigation.
Or they could just not say anything. But, these people aren't very bright. I'll be back in a moment. I got to go answer the door.
Due to these discoveries, Shiloh will no longer be working with us. We do have more tweets to share, which they hadn't, from what I remember correctly, but I feel we don't need to completely kill their rep. Which, unfortunately, it's like, if you're dealing with a name that has a large number of people, it's like, regardless whether it's a content creator or a group like this, when you post information out of there, it's out of your hands on how people are going to react about it. And I did not collect these screenshots, but, Zoophile police tried to remedy this situation by basically telling their audience, like, what the fuck, why are you attacking Patch? Like, we said they weren't a pedophile, yada yada. It's the problem is that the terminology they use and the fact that they're acting upon this now, given the fact that this was yesterday, the 30th, means there's a 10-day gap between Lucifer's post and Zoophile Police's response. I don't know. I'm assuming Patch had found out by yesterday. I don't know. I have to ask Leo that later. Chat, remind me. Yeah, so we'll get to that after. Let me see if there are any lovely people from the chat who have any more questions for me. Again, if anyone wants to join the Discord, the link should be in the description. So yeah, I'll get back to okay. Leo's getting back.
And I'm back.
So Leo, did you get an exact timeline of like when the Zoophile police found out about this? Was this literally like the day of they made this post?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And Patch found out about that later, obviously.
Yes, they got a message on Discord, I think, about it without being able to respond, and then they cut Patch's feed.
Yes.
Because they're pussy.
So this is basically like Coyote's statement on the evidence he gave me. He said, this is basically what he told me, their reasons for why they actually like removed Patch from the group. They claim not to know who Lily was at all when I confronted them on that. Patch claims they told the admins all about Lily one day. Bologna, name's going to pop up a lot here, also states that they know how to do background checks.
Sure.
I bet Leo, it's like, I don't even think this girl could like check her own back, much less like watch out for you to come across the corner.
Correct.
I am the knight.
I am the knight.
Get into my car.
Ugh.
Yet pretend to have no idea who Lily Orchard was, which seems odd. They wouldn't even Google the username after seeing these. And they sent me, Coyote had sent me the artwork that Patch was working on and had done for Lily,
Yeah.
the commission, yada yada. It's like, if you guys want a justification, it's like being an artist is pretty hard, and it's like I'm gonna tell you guys a fun story. You guys know Doom? You guys know what Doom is? That game was made back in the 90s. Well, when he made it, the artwork, the cover artwork, one of the most iconic art covers ever in video game history. I think he got like a $24,000 payment for it instead of royalty. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, and I don't blame him. It's like he's got to eat.
Yeah, I mean, same thing happened back in the 60s. The guy who developed the now iconic G.I. Joe design took a $10,000 payment instead of royalties because he was an artist and he had to eat. Now, if he had not done that and took the royalties instead, he would have been a multi-millionaire. But an artist has to eat, and sometimes thinking long-term doesn't help with that.
Yeah. So the second thing is, and I believe, so this is Coyote's explanation. It says, this DM, without context, was given to me to justify that Patch harasses minors by Bologna. Evidently, this came from Jazz, since
Yes,
I
it
was
did.
given context by Leo about this conversation afterwards. And you said that last one was about Jazz and Patch. The context was a couple of years ago. I told Jazz to defend herself the next time her mother attacked her. Jazz told Patch I told her to assault her mother. This is Patch confronting Jazz about that.
Correct, because at the time, Jazz had gotten into Patch's server, and she had done this a couple of times with other servers, saw that I was there, and immediately ran to the mods to try to get me removed. Because Leo's a bad man. He made me upsetty spaghetti. He told me real life advice that I didn't want to have to follow. So she tried to put out this idea that I told her to assault her mother. So, of course, Patch, doing due diligence, which is something the Zoophile police are apparently incapable of doing, said, hey, Leo, you're being accused of this stuff. What's going on here? Said, no. I told Jazz, if your mother tries to assault you, since you are obstinately not wanting to talk to the police, hit her back. Defend yourself. You have every right to. And instead, Jazz, and again, we went over this. We went over this at length in freaking Zeb server months ago. No, I did not tell you to assault your mother. I told you to act in self-defense. And now, here we are, months later, Jazz is still being stupid.
Pretty much. I mean, I don't have a date on this. So, when was... Do you have any idea when this was?
I'd have to look in my DMs, but it was months ago.
Oh, okay. And I told Coyote this. I was like, wow, Jazz has grown into the full-grown cunt. Anyways, defend myself. Hit back when your mother hits you. And in fact, I've been told he defended you in Barrel against accusations that you lied about being raped, and yet you still accuse him despite him defending you. That causes issues. I could understand that defending part, but pressured me in a call about calling the cops and hitting her, despite Jace telling him to quit it. That's not true. I can even ask, and, it's cut off. So it's like
yeah,
that.
Jace flat out, in a call we want to bed, Jace like, I never defended you. What are you talking about? You're crazy.
And it's like, that was it. Like, that's all they really had to go off of on Patch's abusive behavior. And again, we build off from the fact that they tried to reach out to them, but they just decided to take action because there was urgency, apparently. Even though, around the time they reached word of it, this post had already came out 10 days later or 10 days earlier.
Yeah.
It's all about time. I told Lucifer this. It's an important detail, and people can pick up on this, and they start questioning what's going on intentions wise. Yeah, and that's it. So Leo, is there anything you want to make statement wise in regarding to just what happened in the
Oh,
server.
yes, I am very much so amused at the fact that they're claiming I threatened to dox people when I didn't. We had the entire call recorded, and they are panicking about it when I never even said that. So these people do not operate within the confines of reality. They just make things up as they go, whatever suits their fancy. They can't be trusted.
Oh,
Balana
yeah.
needs to resign. Balana needs to resign immediately.
Yeah, I think you know, someone needs to take Balana's place, someone with a much more greater deal of competence. I mean, I would be happy to recommend taking that role, like recommending myself. I mean, Patch thinks I hold a great like amount of energy when like drama shiz on the low, and that
Well, I
I
mean,
need
you
a
do.
filter, but it's like I'm down all the time. I'm like tired because like I have school shit, I have work, I go to the gym, I hang out with people, I have a life outside the internet.
Yeah.
It's I mean I'm not against like trying to take this mantle. I mean my second recommendation would be Coyote. Like he was the one offered the position to begin with. I'm not saying that
Yes.
Coyote is a better or worse choice. I'm just saying that it's like maybe you should just go back with the original. And I'm not saying better or worse in comparison to Patch. I'm not trying to play favorites here. I'm just saying, stating the fact is that you offered someone the position. He vouched for Patch. I know that Coyote isn't happy with them. I
No,
don't blame
not at
him,
all.
and I totally get where he's coming from. Uh, I just think that they need to go through some kind of interview process, and if Anthony or anyone wants to be willing to like assist in that, and just getting like some questions answered, like how do you guys process evidence, like how do you guys make decisions like this? Do you proof what you say in a fucking tweet?
No, probably not, because they're stupid.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a hard no on that.
Yeah, pretty obvious.
You need to do that if you're trying to come across as a serious organization that is serious about helping minors and exposing people like undesirable people. So
Correct.
my
100% agree.
my decision is reform, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I mean that's it. I didn't realize that that part was that much shorter. I guess that's because we were going to do the Vita shit now, but not now.
Well, you guys
Anyways,
have also been
yeah.
at it for like 3 hours now, so.
Well, yeah. But anyways, does anyone have any more questions for Leo or
Oh no,
I?
I think I killed the chat when I called that person a pussy multiple times.
Isn't that
'Cause they are one.
Isn't that great, Leo? It's like you don't need to worry about that shit being like censored on chat because it's not for kids. I love that so much.
Yes, it's very nice. I also can't get banned for it like I can on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeet.
My place is like my stream's the place to party.
Correct.
It's just now we need to find something to party about.
Party, dude.
Party.
But now I'll go ahead and sign out. I got to finish a video for the night that's not related to the drama, so I'll go ahead and catch you later,
Well,
man.
I was hang on, I'm gonna end the stream. I just need to talk to you real quickly. I need to just say something to you before I go. All right. Well, thanks for everyone for coming on. Thank you for your patience. Again, if you have any questions, comment it down below. Also, make sure to include the timestamps. The link to the Discord chat is in the description. Feel free to join, add topics, call me out on my bullshit, and then I'll call you retarded, stuff like that. Have a good night. See ya.